1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, maybe the Patriots won't lose every game this year. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Drake May looked a little better last night. We were talking about Perloff's big proclamation that all of these rookie quarterbacks are going to hit at some point. You love this rookie class. You think it's fantastic. Drake May looked terrible. His first preseason game, very limited action. Yesterday wasn't perfect, but he did look a lot better. He looked a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, Drake May looked fine, but wait, back to your first point, that doesn't mean the Patriots are going to win a single football game in the NFL this season.
It might not be that
yeah,
good.
which is actually, I think it's fine. This is like a full process. Like they're stripping it down and starting over. And he does he looks like a stud quarterback, right? Like if you just eyeball it, he's big, he's tall, his arm throws a gorgeous spiral, and he can obviously run. We knew that about him.
He's got to learn how to slide, though. Get that slip and slide from Bears Hard Knocks.
I mean, he kind of looked like a Justin Herbert type. You know, he's just which is fine. Might take some time to develop. But the team around him is so bad because who's he? I keep him on the field. He has no one to throw the ball to. Like that's what stuck out to me. Every time they went to the higher camera, it was like magnets in the Patriots wide receiver. They were glued to the Eagles defensive back.
Yeah.
Like there's just nobody to throw the football to. So what's the point?
Yeah, we talked yesterday about teams who rebuild the right way or the wrong way. You're right. I mean, the Patriots, this feels pretty down to the studs here. So if they do want to build this thing the right way, which is going to take time, and I didn't know if Robert Kraft was going to be so patient with any kind of rebuild. I don't know if they have a choice now. They have an opportunity to build this thing the right way. There's zero expectations. You do seem like at least the quarterback's coming along, but there's no urgency to get him out there right away. Week one, you have Jacoby Brissett's kind of the airbag, bridge guy, whatever. And there's a chance here that the Patriots can do. I can't say your 76ers, invented the process and completed it, but I get what you're saying. There's an opportunity for them to actually build this thing the right way and give Drake May a chance in future years.
Which is really weird because now that we're talking about it, in the NBA, they might do this. But in the NFL, an older owner like Robert Kraft would typically not say, hey, I want you to win 3 games, especially because there's no quarterback to tank for. There's no tanking for Tua.
You already got your guy.
You already got your guy. And I think we saw it last night. Like you had brought up a topic earlier in the week. What if the Patriots end up with a number 1 pick? Would they possibly already move on from Drake May? You didn't exactly say that, but would they? What if
they have a conversation?
What if they have the number 1 pick and there's some Joe Burrow type that emerges?
That's still on the table.
I don't think so. I don't think there's any quarterbacks next year who would possibly be like that. Again, right.
Let's let the season play out, right? I mean,
honestly, I think we're looking at a Kenny Pickett 1 quarterback in the first round draft. But regardless, they're not going to. If Drake May was back in college, he would be the surefire number 1 pick. Like Drake May, you saw enough. Like he'd be the number 1 pick next year. In a normal draft, he probably would have been 2 at least. So he's got the goods. But the issue is. Can you be an NFL team that goes down to 2 wins and will fans accept that who are so used to winning?
It's different in New England. You're right about that. I mean, it was a slow decline with Belichick, so I think people were ready to move on, but it's going to be painful. Now, that's why May has to show some flashes because that first game, He had one drive. It's like, are they protecting him for something out there or whatever? You have to have the rookie out there. That's the only way you're selling hope. I'm sorry, Christian Gonzalez as your corner. Like, now we're getting deeper into the depth chart here. That's not exactly going to like get the juices going for the Patriots. It's got to be about May. And I'm not saying that the number one pick is off the table at all. It's a bad offensive line.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no weapons. Who is Jerod Mayo a good coach? What's the defense going to look like? The schedule is not exactly cupcake. This could be a very painful year, and the only thing that would make you even feel a little bit better is if Drake May is able to look as good as he did last night, competent as he did last night.
But there are a lot of reports coming out of New England that there's massive problems on their offensive line. And as we mentioned, like
you could see it last night.
Last night, and their receivers last night. I don't think they were playing everybody, but they were just not good. You know, I love the name Kayshon Boutte, but he was not getting open. And then Javon Baker, this guy they keep talking about in camp, dropped that long pass by Drake May. But regardless, there's no experience. There's no money spent on any of these guys.
That's true.
Kendrick Bourne. But generally, though, like he's got no one to throw. So what's the point of putting him out there looking bad? So I think we're going to see a lot of Jacoby Brissett. Now, one thing I think you and I disagree, like Brissett was not good last night. He threw a pick in the end zone. But, I mean, you saw the play where he was just like, I got to throw it to somebody. Like, what am I going to do here? Right.
There's
like,
no expectation.
Yeah. Like, you might as well. Jacoby Brissett will win you, and a normal team would win 7 or 8 games. He's done it a million times. He could be fine. So you might as well put Brissett out there. So my question to you, Maggie, is say Brissett starts the season, like, when do you go to Drake May? Like, if you're likely not winning, we both agree on that. What is the strategy of developing a quarterback? Do you put him in midseason or just keep him out the whole time?
Well, to be honest, if the offensive line is going to be this bad, and I don't know if they're going to get much better during the year, then I might not put him in at all. I don't know. Maybe I put him in sparingly here and there if I'm getting probably not in a blowout because I don't want him getting in harm's way. But, you know, maybe a couple games at the end of the season, like 3 or something. Again, if that offensive line is bad, I don't want to do something stupid here in a rush and, you know, put this dude in harm's way. Because, again, he doesn't know how to slide or can't slide. He's going head first. Like, it's silly when he was running last night. Can I bring up one other thing about this if we just, like, zoom out a little bit on the Patriots? There's going to be probably some awkward moments here. I think even if they were they're done with Belichick, and I understand why he wasn't winning anymore, and Mac Jones wasn't good enough. But I think the handoff, even though Jerod Mayo was already in the building, it's not going to be as seamless as we think. The Judon stuff, now he just got traded away to Atlanta. I don't think that ever would have been as public as it was if Belichick was there. I'm not saying they never had issues in New England. Of course, we all know they did. But contract stuff playing out at practices where guys are chirping at each other and coaches and him talking demonstratively to a GM, that stuff never happened. And then you had another couple awkward moments from last night, and this was from the broadcast, which actually was a very good listen. But here was Rhamondre Stevenson with sideline reporter Steve Burton with confusion about a question about the guy who just left.
I got to ask you about the guy who just left. How much are they going to miss him? And who's going to step up in his place?
I miss Bill. That was one of my favorite coaches. But, you know, Mayo, he's a great leader. He knows what he's doing with us. And, yeah, I'm excited for Mayo, and I think we can get it done with him.
I wasn't talking about Mayo. I was talking about your defensive teammate.
Oh, Judon.
Oh, my God. Bill's presence still clearly looms large there, Perloff, and how could it not, right? I mean, he was the keys to the kingdom for 20 years. So, of course, when someone says, you know, that guy and how do you, the guy who just left, obviously, Rhamondre Stevenson, his brain would go to Belichick before Matthew Judon.
Yeah, why would you ask a running back about the defensive end? But they asked everybody the Judon question, so I guess that was part of it. You know, it's funny. You saw this as a major broadcasting gaffe. I was listening to it again, like, who cares? It's a preseason. That was not a big deal.
No.
Why? Yeah.
I'm just saying, well, I mean, if you want to get down to, like, the technicalities of broadcasting, I'm just saying that clearly Belichick, like, this is all his people still. These are his players.
Oh, okay.
This is still, and the fact that Jerod Mayo was his assistant coach, he's got to, you know, blaze his own path and all that. It's just Belichick's shadow is going to loom over this team, without a doubt.
But these are these are such marginal NFL players. Like, these are not, I mean, these are like anybody, but they're almost everybody except Christian Gonzalez. And if Barmore got healthy, like there's almost all of them are disposable. Like, who cares whose players they are? There's not any star players who are disgruntled. I'm not sure it'll be so hard because they were so bad last year. I don't think anyone's going to care.
This, to me, is the Patriots no longer have this sort of special quality anymore. And what they are going to go through, in my opinion, is the mistake that a lot of teams have made with hiring Belichick assistants. And I don't know what Gerard Mayo is going to be, but the Belichick assistants are people who try to do things that Belichick has done. It doesn't work. Like, it never works when it's the carbon copy or the facsimile or whatever. It's never been successful when it's someone else trying to do a Bill impersonation. And I think right now you probably have the building kind of split or confused because you asked Rhamondre Stevenson, what about the guy who just left? And he starts talking about Belichick, and they were talking about Matthew Judon. It's almost like, it's not Freudian slip, but it did give me a little bit of a window into sort of what's going on in New England. I think it's going to be extremely, there are moments I think that are going to be awkward and are going to be challenging because of Belichick and how much power and how much control he had in the building. And now to just move away from that and think you're just going to rip the Band-Aid off and we're going to do something else here because you put a ping pong table in the locker room and you play music now, like that's not going to be that easy. They're going to go through, I think, well, losing probably, but even just finding an identity post-Bill, I think, is going to be challenging.
That all sounds good in theory, but the reality, first of all, Gerard Mayo's trying to do everything different from Bill, right? That's all the reports out of New England. Like, who cares? You have like this like B roster. Would it matter if the reincarnation of Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, and Paul Brown combined to coach this team? I mean, Jalen Polk is a second round. I mean, he can't even get 2 inches away from the cornerback. Like, they have no talent. What's the difference who the coach is? What's the difference what the culture is? Like, they have to build a team.
Right. And are they going to do that the Belichick way? Or are they going to do it their own way?
I mean, Belichick could be there, and there is no way you would change the over-under on this team, right? Like, it would be, what's a win total? 4.5. You think Bill Belichick's winning more than 4.5 games with this team? So what difference does it make?
I just think we're underestimating, or maybe you're underestimating, I'm certainly not, the bumps in the road that are going to occur here, let alone the losing. Like, the losing is just going to be part of it because the roster's not good enough. That's almost a given. How are they going to rebuild this team? Is this going to be in Belichick's image? Is this going to be a way he would build the team? Is it going to be someone? Is Elliot Wolf the GM? Is he that much different than what Belichick was doing? We talk about moving on from head coaches. Like, what's Alabama going to do post Nick Saban, and what's Michigan going to do post Harbaugh? What are the Patriots going to do post Bill?
Anything. They were so bad last year. Remember the Giants game where they lost 10-7? I mean, you can't get any lower than last year. So, like, I feel like Bill did a nice job of lowering the bar enough in New England that nobody's going to care.
Really? 6 Super Bowls? I mean, who cares about the 4
They lost
wins?
6. I'm looking. They lost 6-0 to the Chargers. Like, Gerard Mayo. Like, what can he do that's worth? I think I got bad enough. Let's be honest. Since Brady left. Yeah. There's nothing there. There's no there.
Right, but you don't think that Belichick, just because the last couple years were not good, you don't think Belichick's fingerprints and shadow is all over this organization?
Yes, but this is like how it works. This is positive. I'm going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Landry was even more than Bill Belichick associated with the team. That hat was the Dallas Cowboys. It got bad, and at the end, he was so bad nobody cared when he left. They were just a losing team with no possible prospects. Nobody said, I mean, even Jimmy Johnson was 1-15 or something, and people were not like, let's bring Landry back. Like, you have to move on at some point. You can't have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady forever. At a certain point, I think Patriots fans are savvy enough. You have to turn the page, right? Like, nobody's going to want for last year.
Okay, that might be one part with the fans, but I might disagree with you. But look at the players even. Like, Bill's...
Yeah, but who cares about these guys? This is a total rebuild. Rhamondre Stevenson, he's a generic...
He's one of the best players on the team.
He's just a generic running back. And by the way, he said, I love Mayo. I mean, like Will Levis. But I'm just saying, like, what... I just think that this is just like, they're being very smart. They're ripping the Band-Aid. They're saying goodbye to the Bill Belichick, and they have to build a team from scratch. I kind of like Mayo. I don't know what it is.
Sure,
I just sort of like, he was a killer player. He seemed like, everyone says he was designed to be a head coach. I'm going to give him a chance, but I just honestly think no one's going to want for Belichick there. Like, why? I mean, if they can't be worse than last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more awkward than people think. I think it's going to be tough, and there's going to be a lot of, well, Bill would have said this, and there's going to be people, I think, who may even still be loyal to Bill in the building, or not even loyal to Bill, the way Bill did things.
Yeah,
it's all over the broadcast. When McCourty's talking about it last night, it's like, and Bill would have done this, and Bill would have done that. It's hard. I think when he had, it's not like he was just some coach there. He was the coach. He was the GM. He was the tone setter. He's the culture setter. And Belichick's not just going to, his shadow's not just going to loom over the Patriots, in my opinion, this year. It's going to loom over a lot of teams and coaches who are on the perceived hot seat.
Well, I think
if Brian Daboll starts the year 0-4, what are they going to be saying in New York? Bring Belichick back. He's going to be the number one guy we talk about as like the first coach off the bench, if you will.
I think, honestly, there'll be more Giants talk about Bill Belichick than Patriots, because by next year, there'll only be like a handful of Belichick players left. Really, like just maybe 40% of the team will have played for Belichick. And then 3 years, nobody. Drake May has ever met Belichick.
Belichick was ripping him on draft. Sort of.
Jalen Polk's never met Belichick. They're going to have a whole new team. Rhamondre Stevenson is not going to be there by the time they're good. So I don't think that you have to rebuild at some point. Where are we just going to Belichick sit there and have 7 losing seasons to get the record? What would be the point of that?
Why is Gerard Mayo as a Belichick assistant? Why would he was?
He's not Matt Patricia. He seems to have his own thing going on.
What? It's the only place he's ever worked as a coach.
Yeah, I know, but it just feels like he does not bow to the shrine of Bill Belichick like the other assistants.
I disagree. He's a Belichick assistant just like all of them were. He learned from Belichick. Why would we think all of a sudden he's the one who's going to have all this crazy success?
Well, he's a little different because he was a great player, unlike Josh McDaniels or Matt Patricia.
So maybe he's a little more like Mike Vrabel, who played for Belichick. Okay, but he was coaching for Belichick. That's the only place he's coached.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't even know how long Gerard Mayo is going to be there. But the point is, it doesn't matter. They need some players, Maggie. I don't know who cares about culture. This is a B roster at best. You saw it last night. I'm like, whoa, that's their starting lineup?
B is generous. 855-212-4227. Get started with a little Patriots talk. Matt's in Massachusetts. Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
How am I doing? Well, actually, last night, Maggie, I was at that pig vomit with family last night.
Vomit.
I will just sum it up this way. I don't know, honestly, Maggie and Andrew, what was more of a chore this week. Watching that flop last night or trying to go through 128 to get to work in the morning. Because, honestly, they don't look like a team that has a plan. And believe it or not, as bad as that thing was last night, it really started on Tuesday at the joint practice because I don't know if you guys were familiar about this, but Greg Bedard, who covers the Patriots for the Boston Sports Journal, described the moment that, to me, sums up just how clueless they are. They had Drake Mayo behind a backup center during the joint practice against the Eagles' first-team defense.
Bad idea.
And I'm sitting there like, what the hell are we doing out here? I don't know what they're doing, and frankly, I like Gerard Mayo, Maggie, but I think his inexperience is going to rear its ugly head this year.
Well, as long as they don't get Drake May hurt, then
hopefully it rears its ugly head and you get the number 1 pick and you get the next Myles Garrett or something. Like what, Matt, do you have what's the point of winning this year? You're not going to get to the playoffs.
I mean, for what? Just to kind of have a locker room celebration and put it on the video for your fans? I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, this thing last night, I mean, that was eye-opening. This week actually has been eye-opening, and all I could think of was what my brother whispered in my ear, the Celtics season can't come here quick enough.
I know. Boston. You guys always have a winner in your back pocket. Good for you. I get it. Matt, thank you for the call. Listen, Matt is somebody who's been accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Yeah. It's like when 2 rich people get divorced, you know? It's like, well, I've been accustomed to fancy meals and cool clothes and fun vacations, and I don't want to go down, back to the dumps anymore. And I'm expecting a level of competence, even with the practices that Bill Belichick ran an extremely tight ship. Yes, they didn't win a lot of games last year. I get that. But he ran a program that I think Patriots fans started to believe they would be the smarter team on the field. Mm-hmm. They'd be the more button-up team on the field, even if they weren't the most talented team.
Well, the Patriots fans have not watched that team the last 3 seasons.
Matt has.
It got to the point where Belichick was terrible terrible at special teams last year. I mean, Bill Belichick, like
Two
the
loyalty
worst,
assistants,
the
too loyal.
worst in the league in special teams, making mistakes left and right. Like that Belichick team. That's a memory. You're talking about a ghost of a team. That was not there last year. And Belichick could be there. He's got whatever. We can't figure out the number, how many wins he needs. He's going to need 6 years to get 15 wins with that team. So I totally disagree. I think lose away. Enjoy yourselves. Just, let Jacoby Brissett get, what was the Bedard stat? He got sacked on 5 out of 8 dropbacks. That's fine. Who cares? This is all good. Their defense is a little salty, by the way, which is going to be annoying. Get ready for a lot of 13-4 losses or whatever.
855-212-4227. Wow, I'm sure they can't wait. 855-212-4227. What a fun season to look forward to.
It's going to be a carbon copy. I'm telling you, you're forgetting how bad they were last year. I mean, they were historically bad on offense.
I never forget about the Patriots. The Patriots have been living rent-free in my head for 20 years. I never forget about them. Okay, you are welcome to weigh in on the future of the Pats, future of Drake May. We also have to get to San Francisco and Brock Purdy. Roller coaster of a training camp. Ups and downs galore. What do we make of this? We'll tell you next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Maggie, two things that bother me about training camp reporting. We've seen a lot of training camp reporting.
Yeah. We've done some in the past.
When coaches get on the mic and say they don't like fights, I mean, come on, get out of here. If I'm an NFL coach, I want my guys swinging each other all day long. Like, you want that intensity, right?
Wait, with each other or in the joint
everybody.
practices?
I
It
don't
doesn't
care.
matter. Okay.
I like when that guy hit the Cowboys assistant coach. I want everybody hitting everybody.
God. That dude took a ride.
I want everybody. I mean, who was it with the Rams? Aaron Donald was swinging his helmet.
Yeah, well, that's not safe.
Guys are wearing helmets and pads.
No, but he took the helmet off of somebody and then tried to hit him in the head with it. That guy wasn't wearing a helmet. That's very unsafe.
Honestly, a newborn infant in a crib is less safe than an NFL player in a fight. No NFL player has ever gotten hurt in a fight in the history of the sport. That's the dumbest thing. Like, there's no fights. Nobody gets hurt.
Wait, here's a question for you. We glossed over for a second. I don't know if our audience is fully aware of this. It was Cowboys Rams.
Yes.
It was a training. It was a practice together.
Joint practice.
Joint practice. Thank you. They're doing a drill, and there was like an assistant coach, maybe like an intern or something, who was in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Sort of out to the side of the play. The play ends up going his way, and he kind of got pushed over.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought that was that guy's bad. Like, I know he got pushed. You don't want to get pushed over. But if you are in shorts and a t-shirt and you have other guys who are in full pads who are doing practices, you got to get yourself out of the way. That's like being upset if you were on the sideline and you got run over. You got to keep your head on a swivel there, right?
Well, I mean, the player clearly went out of his way to throw him down harder.
Really? Because I felt like his momentum was just sort of taking him into the guy. The guy's got to move.
No.
You got to move. I thought.
He gave him an extra little zhuzh.
Well, maybe a zhuzh. But you got to get your butt out of the way. You don't have pads on, dude. That's on you. Get away. Go.
Yeah, the other thing I don't like about training camp is any kind of quarterback stats. And they are so silly and they've gotten so evolved. So it started this national debate. It was really Brock Purdy in San Francisco who started the debate because the first several camps, apparently he was missing passes, throwing picks. And everyone was like, oh, are we in trouble or is he expanding his comfort zone? Now, I love this idea because Brock Purdy's working on stuff, so he's trying new things. I'm kind of into that now. So now I think I want my quarterback to struggle in camp because if he's killing it in camp, that means that he's just doing the normal things. I like Brock Purdy put on 20 pounds of muscle and now he's trying to like, ooh, can I make this throw?
Yeah.
So the point is like training camp stats and even training camp evaluations are idiotic, and the media thinks they know what's happening with these like stats. That is, I generally think that it's so ridiculous. Like the coaches must be laughing when they see these stats because they have no idea what's really happening. In my opinion, you don't know the play calls, you don't know what the coach wants him to do, you have no idea what Brock Purdy's trying to achieve. So they've been killing him all offseason, and now I guess he had a good practice yesterday or something. But this evaluation of Brock Purdy has been driving me nuts.
I'll agree with you that training camp stats the coaches should use them for whatever they want to use them for. I don't think sometimes we know exactly what we're looking at. But what are you saying here? You're saying that you want your quarterback to look bad?
Yes, I'm saying.
Okay.
If
but you don't even. Okay.
No, I'm not saying I want to look bad.
No, we can't say that. Like, oh, please throw a lot of picks in training camp. That means you're trying harder.
I saw this stat where Brock Purdy only completed 50% of his passes in a practice.
No, of course nobody
Is that
cares about
scary?
that.
No, I'm not saying nobody cares, but does that scare you? Like maybe they was like trying something new, and but none of the reporters viewed it that way. They're like, oh man, Purdy's about to take a step back. But my point is like, okay, well maybe Purdy's trying to be more aggressive on this kind of throw and learn how to do this, and they're evaluating. That is not necessarily a negative. I'm half stealing this take from Fox Sports' Nick Wright, who ripped Jalen Hurts for not throwing any picks. Yeah, I just think that generally Brock Purdy is probably, he's trying to be more of a downfield guy, trying to do different things. I don't buy any of his struggles. I really don't buy any of those reports of his struggles.
Okay, how do you rip a guy for not throwing interceptions? This is why people hate the media. This is why. He didn't throw any interceptions. What a loser. Like, what's that? I don't get the logic there.
You ever seen Russell Wilson play football?
What?
He will not throw into a crowd. He'd rather take the sack because he is so worried about his interception.
And you know
number.
who else did that?
Aaron
Tom
Rodgers.
Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Brady not as much. Aaron Rodgers.
Definitely Rodgers. And I've seen Brady throw a lot of balls away. That's also part of it. That's part of playing the position. That's when you know a guy's getting smarter is when he throws the ball away.
I don't know if I'm not sure modern offensive football agrees with you. I think that.
So you'd rather have Josh Allen throwing picks left and right? You want Dak Prescott a couple of years ago?
I think that there's some thinking now, maybe I do want some interceptions out of my quarterbacks. Maybe I do throw some 50-50 balls. I just think that the game has changed a little bit. Like the Russell Wilson, I'll take the sack because God forbid my rating goes below 100. I think that's a little out of favor.
Wait a minute. I feel like are you guys pranking me today? Like what is going on? This is like saying he's not shooting, not holding back on a half court shot before the buzzer because an NBA player doesn't want his percentage going down. There's a good play. Sometimes it's a good play to throw the ball away.
Yeah, but often, I think aggressive play like Mahomes is probably.
But Mahomes doesn't throw picks.
Sure, he does.
Not
double-digit picks. I think every year.
Okay, wait a minute.
He's out like.
And how many of them do they actually blame on Mahomes? I think they blame them all on the wide receivers. And turning the ball over is the worst thing you can do as a quarterback.
Yes, but not throwing the ball downfield is quite painful too. Who are the best two quarterbacks generally? If you did a quarterback ranking around the NFL, who's 1 and 2?
Mahomes and probably Burrow.
Burrow is a little bit of a curveball. I didn't expect you. Guys who are generally healthy. I think it goes, most people would have Mahomes, Josh Allen. Those guys both throw picks.
Oh, and Josh Allen gets crucified for it and the fumbles, but that's a little different.
Then why is he consensus, except for apparently you, number 2 quarterback in the NFL?
Joe Burrow's number 2 quarterback in the NFL. That's number 1. And 2, people rip Josh Allen constantly. He loses games for the Bills because he throws the ball and puts it in harm's way. That's like, I can't. Listen, you want your quarterback throwing picks? Have fun watching that season. There's a time and place. You can take shots and stuff, and sometimes it won't kill your team if it is almost like a punt anyway. I get that.
Yeah.
But nobody wants their quarterback throwing picks.
I'd rather have a guy on third down just chuck it downfield than do like Russell and just hit the ground. Definitely. Listen, I'm telling you, look at Mahomes' interception percentages. He'll throw into a crowd all the time.
Again, and who do they blame?
I'm not saying
Mahomes. They're blaming the receivers.
They don't blame anyone. They're like, this is our offense. This is cool. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And by the way, I would.
Well, where was this aggressive Chiefs offense last year? I didn't see that.
There were a lot of picks.
Were there?
He was 4th in the NFL in picks last year.
Yeah,
if you look at the outlier, though, isn't it?
No, I think he's top 5 in picks every year. I think if you look at the last 5 years, who's thrown the most interceptions, it's like all Pro Bowlers.
Well, I know, but that's mostly because Josh Allen is skewing it.
I think it's like
poll question: do you want your quarterback throwing interceptions? Yes, no. I'm going to win this one.
This is a weird list. So Sam Howell was number 1 last year with 21, but then it goes Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Tua. So it's guys, and not every interception created equal. There are ones that are basically punts. Then there are bad throws.
Yeah, they're not all the same.
Yeah, I think people are looking at interceptions a little differently, like the PFF crowd, the analytics crowd.
Yeah, it is funny though, the idea that Brock Purdy is experimenting with a cutter in spring training at training camp now. That's a new thought. I haven't heard that one before.
Well, that's kind of cool though. Isn't that a good idea? Try a new pitch.
Yeah,
I never thought that him throwing
splitter. Stand by.
Yeah, right. I never thought that him throwing any interceptions in training camp meant anything. I just think he's riding the highs and lows here. And I think he does miss Ayuk.
Well, I think the 49ers media corps does read into it,
Okay,
though.
well, they're there every
The
day.
other thing, too, is you could read it, hey, maybe the defense is back to kicking butt. You
That could be
could see
too.
a positive, too. That's my whole point. And I think you agree with me. Like, we agree on this fundamental point that you can't watch a quarterback in training camp necessarily like an established quarterback. We're not talking about Drake May. We're talking about Brock Purdy. We know he can play in an NFL game. I don't want to hear that he had a lower numbers, a lower completion percentage on Tuesday. To me, that is an inane stat.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the thing about the interceptions is it's hard for me to remember a bad Mahomes interception. Can I put it that way? Yeah. I don't remember a time when it was like, dang, Mahomes, like, how could you try that? How could you do that? Instead, I have Mahomes' left-handed pass, no-look pass, making something out of nothing. He's going out of bounds and somehow finds Kelsey or somehow finds, Rashee Rice. Like, I remember some bad Josh Allen interceptions. I remember some bad Tua interceptions. I feel like there's been bad Dak Prescott interceptions, at least from 2 years ago. I don't remember Mahomes killing his team with interceptions.
Well, I disagree. Dak Prescott, every interception 2 years ago would hit some scrub receiver between the numbers and pop up into the air. No, I don't remember the bad Dak, but I do think it's called a 50-50 ball, Maggie. 50% means the offense catches it. There's that other 50.
Where you have to play defense as a wide receiver and make sure the ball gets to the ground incomplete.
3rd and 8, I'm chucking it every 50. At 3rd and 8, I'm just throwing the ball in the air 50 yards and hoping that DeAndre Hopkins comes down with it. I like these aggressive quarterbacks.
Well, now with the way they call the game, too, it's so easy to get a flag.
My God, you get all those flags. So you kind of want, you can't get a flag when the guy's wide open. You got to throw to the guy who's covered to get the pass interference. That's a great point.
Can you imagine how long it would take for Perloff as a starting quarterback to get run out of town? They would drive you to the airport. It's like every 3rd down, I'm chucking it.
Yes. That's how you win football games.
That's how you lose.
First of all, you get a flag. No, I mean 3rd and 8, a 40-yard interception is not going to hurt you.
It's very different.
All these good. Bogus is right. God, all the good quarterbacks threw double-digit picks last year.
Well, that's like all the assist guys also have a lot of turnovers in basketball.
Yeah, it's also less than one a game. And I do think that it matters. Like, you can throw a pick in the first quarter, whatever.
Right.
You throw a pick in the 4th quarter, driving for the game-winning touchdown was a terrible throw. Like, that makes you suck. So, like, it's like every number, the context matters.
Like clutch stats type of stuff.
Right.
Well, will you agree with me, though, that Josh Allen is generally considered the number 2 quarterback in the NFL? Maggie has Burrow, but I'm not sure Burrow's been consistently healthy enough to be number 2.
Yeah, I think when they're both healthy, they're interchangeable at 2 and 3, but they're near the top of the list.
If you ask the players, it's Lamar Jackson.
But the first Josh Allen negative is the interceptions.
And the fumbles.
Right.
Okay, wait. We've got to get to headlines because we're late to that. I don't even know if there's a social post out of this. Like, is there a poll?
Do chicks dig interceptions?
Do you love it when your quarterback throws a pick? No. I know what you mean, bro. Let's get to some headlines, though. Bogues, what do you have?
I got more quarterback stuff. You guys began with Drake May. I've got your Kenny Pickett update. The former Steeler was the Eagles QB for the first half last night in Foxborough. 11 for 13. That's good. Just 67 yards, though.
Just taking the completions that are there, and trying to move the offense. Those big plays will come sooner or later. Just got to, continue to throw them, throw them in practice.
It was former Stanford QB Tanner McKee who threw the deciding 2-point conversion late in the 4th quarter last night for a 14-13 Philly win. Now, Maggie's Bills usually have such good luck, but here's linebacker Matt Milano suffering a major injury for the 2nd straight season. This time it's a torn bicep. He's out indefinitely. It was a season-ending broken leg for him in Week 5 last season.
Yeah, woof. I mean, they got younger at so many positions, but Matt Milano, I don't even actually know how old he is, but because of all the injuries, it feels like he's pretty old. The entire middle of the field is just going to be wide open. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a problem.
That might lead to picks from Josh Allen playing catch-up.
Yeah, maybe. You got Sean McDermott as your defensive head coach, so what do you got planned, pal?
Can I share a little English language thing that always confuses me? Torn biceps, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, but I kept seeing the non-plural yesterday.
Right. Is it a plural? But it's not a plural word. Biceps is one bicep or two? Because I kept seeing torn biceps. Help me out here, bro. You know what I'm talking about?
No. And
I saw what you said.
Do you not pronounce the S? I don't. I'm actually honestly.
No, I saw it without the S yesterday, as if people were maybe whoever's tweet I read it thought because it was just one of his biceps that they just went to bicep.
Oh, sorry, I saw biceps a lot.
You realize we are the 100% wrong crowd for this.
ESPN's headline: torn biceps. NFL.com's headline: torn biceps.
Okay, biceps. See,
so. Do you pronounce the S?
Yeah, I typed the wrong word. I'm sorry to.
No, I'm just curious.
Grammar police over
there.
Got it, Dartmouth.
I don't think anything's right, but it's just an odd thing.
But I also, so on this note, I need a clarification on why the word tendon is Tendon, but when it becomes tendinitis, that O, I believe, becomes an I.
I think there are other words like that too, aren't there?
But why?
I don't know. It's like that Saturday Night Live skit where they're explaining the metric system.
Why
nobody knows?
Nobody knows why we don't have the metric system. Certain things, bicep, we'll never know.
Honestly, I feel for people who attempt to learn English. Good luck.
It makes no sense.
How? I wouldn't even know where to begin if I was teaching English to someone who was trying to learn it.
The amount of words that we say the same way but spell differently is almost like we're trying to mess with people.
Oh, definitely. Man, I'm going to remember something that my kid said the other day that was like, oh, you're way off on this. Keep going and I'll remember.
There was baseball last night. The Orioles rejoined the Yankees.
Oh, this was what it was. He goes, someone had a pacifier. And he's like, but why are there flames? Why would there be flames on a pacifier? And I was like, oh, no, that's not what it is. Yeah. Our language is weird. Go ahead.
Yeah. Baseball last night, the Orioles rejoined the Yankees atop the AL East with a 5-1 win over the Nationals. Zach Eflin allowed that one run over 6 innings, struck out 8. He's now 4-0 since his trade from Tampa Bay.
Baseball never stops, so you got to come in ready to go. So I haven't really changed that mentality, but like I've told you guys, everybody's been so welcoming and so great, and it's a really fun team to be a part of, so that's definitely helped a lot.
Gunnar Henderson provides some support last night with a 2-run homer. The Twins got a 3-2 win in Texas. They're now 4 games behind idle Cleveland in the AL Central, and Brewers outfielder Christian Yelich opting for season-ending back surgery. He's been out since late July. And finally, the New York Liberty back from the WNBA's Olympic break with a 103-68 rout of the Sparks in L.A. That is their league single-season record 3rd win by 35 points or more.
It's a shame Pete's got to miss this. He's on vacation. Big Liberty guy.
Huge Liberty guy.
Number 1 fan.
But you know what? I mean, a 9 Eastern start for that game last night. Nothing better than winding down from Disney by laying in your hotel bed watching Liberty Sparks.
Yeah, watching a 30-point blowout.
And it was over by halftime, so he could have gone to sleep happy as well.
Have we gotten any? We did get one communication from Bilotti yesterday.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Glad he called in with that.
What is shocking about this is usually worst case scenario happens for Pete. So I was thinking he was going to be in 98 degree max humidity August weather. Apparently they're having a quote unquote cold front that it's actually in the 70s only in Florida this weekend. That is mind blowing to me.
Just W's for Bilotti. Good for them.
You can't pay for that.
That's awesome. 855-212-4227. We will get to what made the group text thread yesterday. Also, I don't like this rule change. It could be coming down the pike, and I think it's a huge mistake. We'll talk about it next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listen, I think Khaled would be with me on this one, which is Major League Baseball continues to make changes to the game, Perloff, and generally they've worked out, so maybe they deserve the benefit of the doubt, but they are floating a rule that would be 6 innings minimum for starting pitching. And I hate it.
You have to break this down for me because I saw the headline. I'm like, well, this is totally crazy. What's happening here?
Okay, so
you might as well, if you're going to change that, just change everything.
So it'd be starters have to go a minimum of 6 innings, except if they get injured, obviously they come out of the game. If they've topped 100 pitches, they can come out of the game. Or if they've given up 4 earned runs, they can come out of the game. So if their pitch count's high, if they're getting shelled, or if they get hurt, then they can come out of the game. If not, you've got to go 6 innings. And I think the reason why they're doing it is disingenuous. They're saying they're hoping behind the scenes that guys actually learn how to pitch more and not just rely on their velocity. But you know what? That's their right. And also, who do you think's telling them they have to throw 100? The GMs and the people who own the team in the front offices. Here's the thing about this. I think Major League Baseball front offices don't want to pay starters $230 million anymore. So they started using a lot of relievers and openers and just going through arms like tissue paper. And granted, you don't love that for the athlete, but that's also just the way the game evolved. If you want these great starters that go deep in games, which, by the way, there's not a law saying they can't go deep in games. I just don't think front offices want to pay these guys what Garrett Cole is making and all of that, because we've seen the salaries get depressed over the last couple of years. I think this is a problem that baseball GMs and owners have created, and now they're trying to find a solution. And to me, the players are the ones who lose out here.
Yeah, well, I don't care less about the players. Those guys get so much money that they're being paid to be jerked around. But I have a question. Will this change the entire competitive nature of the sport? I assume it's going to affect wins and losses tremendously because you're going to have to keep a guy who you should pull. I don't like that anti-competitive nature. I do like more offense. It's going to be fun to see guys tee off on them the third time around the lineup. But generally, though, this just doesn't feel like it feels like a cheat rule.
Well, yeah, listen, you're right about the third time around the lineup, right? This is something we know now with analytics about how much, and did you need the analytics for this one? The deeper the guy goes in the game, the more the advantage goes to the hitter because they've seen all of his stuff. The guy is fatigued, all of that. But we know some guys are worse than others where you can't leave them the third time around in the lineup. So yes, it does change something competitively. And by the way, you already changed the shift. And the shift has led to more base runners and more action and more excitement in the game. I don't think this is necessarily going to do that. And by the way, the odds that you're getting these great pitching duels every day because two guys are going head-to-head for a minimum of 6 innings, I don't think we're really getting that. I think it's going to be more lopsided stuff than anything. So I'm not a fan of this. I don't know. EJ, you like this rule?
I like it a lot. I think that, maybe I'm the old school guy here, apparently, but I like the way baseball was when you had starters going deeper into games when teams couldn't rely solely on their bullpen to get them out from the 4th or 5th inning on.
Right.
To me, this is great. I totally agree that Major League Baseball teams, GMs, owners created this problem. But I think it also is their responsibility to fix it, right? I mean, the quality of play, I feel like, is worse when we don't have pitchers who can go deeper into games. When we have so many, pitching changes. I know they've helped the rule so that you can't have as many pitching changes.
Yeah.
Guys have to face at least 3 batters. But still, I mean, that Mets game yesterday, there was 1 million pitching changes. The game took 3 hours and 45 minutes, the longest game ever in the pitch clock era of baseball. To me, yesterday was a perfect example of we don't need that. I want to see guys go deeper into games. And I think what will happen is you will now, all the things we've seen where guys throwing 100 and then blowing out their elbow in 2 years, now you'll see guys come up to the minor leagues actually learning how to pitch. So it won't be a problem right now. It may be a problem now, but in years later, the guys being developed, they will be able to do that. We had Nolan Ryan throwing a zillion innings in 1970. Why the athletes today who are in better shape, better trained, better nutrition, they can't do the same thing?
I just don't think that you can definitively say you're going to be able to keep guys healthier. I don't think, where's the data? I don't think you're going to be able to do that. The reason, because here's the thing, how do you know that a guy is not still going to be trying to hit 95 and 96 on the radar gun, or that the team's not going to tell them you need to be hitting 95 and 96 on the radar gun? Nolan Ryan could do that, but there wasn't that pressure that hitting 90 in Nolan Ryan's day was considered amazing, right? You didn't have guys who were 90 now is so average. Your velocity has to be way higher than that.
Yeah, but I think the data, is 1985. It wasn't all Nolan Ryan. There were average guys who were able to go way deeper into games. And we saw guys didn't get hurt as much. They were healthy. They went deeper into games and they were fine. I think it's about training. It's all about how you train these athletes when they get to that level. Right now, they're being trained to throw 5 good innings, throwing as hard as they can, and they don't know how to pitch.
Yeah.
These guys are learning how to throw, not how to pitch.
EJ, I was there in 85. There's lots of knuckleballers back then. A lot of Necro brothers, a lot of guys throwing ephuses.
We need more Necro brothers.
The knuckleball, man. I love watching that. I honestly, let's be honest though, you guys are trying to patch a sport that like is trying to do things to catch up to football, and it's not going to happen. Like now, I think they're like getting a little. This feels a little desperate.
Well, I think what they're trying to do, to EJ's point, which is keeping guys healthier, so maybe it creates more stars. That's always been the thing. That's been the the knock on baseball is like, where are the stars? But I think we have pitchers who are stars. We have Nolan Ryan. We have Graham Maddux. We have pitchers who are stars. But I think the stars are more of the Aaron Judges and the Shoheis and the home run hitters who are the bigger stars.
Chicks dig the long ball. No duh. They want offense. Every single move. They don't care about pitching, do they? I mean,
Pedro Martinez was a star. Randy Johnson was a star. There are guys who are stars. I just think
nobody's buying a ticket for Corey Kluber. I mean, it's just not happening. And Garrett Cole, you think like the average fan is like, oh, Garrett Cole's in town. I'm going to go see him. They're paying for Aaron Judge.
855-212-4227. Baseball, do you want your starting pitchers going a minimum of 6 innings? Say goodbye to the opener, too. So that whole strategy goes out the window. Coming up, Ohio State named their starting quarterback. We dive into it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Big expectations for Ohio State. What else is new? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. News, though, yesterday out of Columbus, Pearl. They did name a starter. No shock. It's Will Howard, the transfer from Kansas State, from K-State. He already had 4 years under his belt at K-State. Now he comes over to Ohio State. This is the way of the world now in college football. He's 22 years old, and he won the starting job. Now, that might not have been all that surprising. The big question is, what does this season mean for RyanDay? Ohio State is ranked 2 preseason, both polls, coaches poll and AP poll. Clearly, the expectations are through the roof. Your biggest rival is coming off a national championship, but their head coach just stepped away with Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL. Is RyanDay, in your opinion, what's on the line for him this year?
I do not think he's on the hot seat because they are either going to win the national title or play in the national title game, and I will guarantee it right here. Wow. I was looking the other day at their depth chart. I mean, some of these guys were around for the 2001 national title game. They are so old and experienced. There's so much talent on this roster. I will say this. If he loses 3 games with this, they should fire him because, there's no way they should not be rolling every single person in this sport. Because I saw a story the other day. Their AD said they spent $20 million on NIL, maybe the biggest NIL season. They have so much talent. The new quarterback, Will Howard, look at his receivers. The Emeka Egbuka is back. He probably would have been a second-round pick this year. And then they have Jeremiah Smith is the natural. He is the most exciting wide receiver prospect to come into the game in 10 years. This guy that everyone keeps talking about. And they have the other number 1 recruits at wide receiver, and they have Travion Henderson. And that's not even the strength of the team. Their defense is old and loaded. Michigan lost 13 draftable players.
Yep.
So how can Michigan beat them? So they're going to win, Maggie. So I think this is I understand what you're saying. The question is, what does RyanDay have at stake? But I'm not even going there because it's going to work. That's like saying, what if the Chiefs lose to the Raiders? They're the Chiefs. They're going to win. Now, if they don't, you're absolutely right. RyanDay's in trouble. But I don't see that scenario playing out at all.
Okay, so here's where I think RyanDay could find himself in a little bit of trouble. You look at his record overall as a coach, and it's super gaudy. He's 56-8. It's silly, right? How dominant they have been. However, when he doesn't have an amazing quarterback, it does look different because they had Maserati Marv last year and finished 10th in the AP poll, right? They had Kyle McCord at quarterback last year, and I know they had injuries and stuff, but Will Howard is probably better because he's older than everybody. Is he that great of a quarterback?
Well, wait. They lost 1 game last year, and it was close.
Well, and then they end up losing the bowl game. But
so
yes,
they might have been, the bowl game, but I don't think anybody played in that game. So, they lost to Michigan, and it was pretty close. So
it was the closest it's been.
Yeah, because what happened was...
Well, congrats, you're close. I mean, that's not going to be enough for Ohio State fans.
I disagree with you in general, though, because they had Dwayne Haskins, all these guys, but their defense stunk. So they fixed the defense, and now they're a completely different team. And Will Howard, all he has to do is be okay. He reminds me of Ken Dorsey at Miami. If you have future first-round picks at every single position on your team, you don't have to be CJ Stroud.
Right.
You don't have to be that great. He's going to be fine. All you have to do is roll a quarterback out there. You can have an average quarterback and an insane offense because we've seen that. But they also, too, like that defense was great last year.
I know, but what's been the successful seasons for RyanDay? The successful seasons are when you had Fields and you're going to, losing to Clemson in the semifinal or beating Clemson the next year and then losing to Alabama in the final in the national college football playoff. 2021 was CJ Stroud. 2022 was CJ Stroud. You lost to Georgia in the semifinal by a point.
Yeah, but
the times when he's been super successful, when he was not on the hot seat or we're close, is when he's had guys who actually are these great QBs. And I don't know if Will Howard, is he a first-round pick? Not like Stroud or Fields.
Yeah, but wait, what's the difference? What's the difference between last year and the year before? So what? They lost to Michigan and that was their only loss. So it wasn't any different last year than the year before. It's the same season. They didn't win a title.
They finished ranked 10th.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. I mean, that's a minor detail. They were basically, if they'd beat Michigan, they would have been the number 1 seed. Just like I don't think they lost any other games, right?
Just the bowl game.
Yeah, the bowl game, which is an exhibition game, so it doesn't matter. I'm just saying they didn't win. They didn't win anything with CJ Stroud. They got to the Final Four. Like, this is not winning anything. We're talking about
they haven't won anything since 2014.
Since 2004, since Cardale Jones. I understand. So I don't think this great quarterback has been the formula for RyanDay. I kind of disagree with that. Yeah, they got
close. They got much closer when they had those great quarterbacks. They lost Alabama the title game with Justin Fields. They were toe to toe with Georgia with CJ Stroud in the semifinal. They were where with Kyle McCord.
They were right there last year. They were absolutely right there.
He didn't play well in the Michigan game. 2 years ago, right? No, last year. The score was close because it's been closer. In 2021, they lost to Michigan 42-27. In 2022, they lost to Michigan 45-23. And last year, congrats, you only lost by 6 points.
So they're getting better against Michigan. Okay. But by the way, they're gonna kill Michigan this year. They have been
RyanDay better hope, right?
They've been waiting for this game. Listen, Michigan, I am a big fan. I hope Sharon Moore does well here.
Yeah.
But you lost everybody. You have a bunch more pros, but you can't. How do you go to Ohio? If they win this game, you're right. RyanDay should be on the hot seat, but they're not. None of that's going to happen.
If they lose the game, you mean.
If Ohio State loses, Ohio State is going to be fine. It's just
he has one win over Michigan. That was 2019, and everyone will tell you that was Urban Meyer's guys. And so that's the first year he takes over. There's a win. COVID year they didn't play, and then he's lost 3 in a row.
I just think they're overwhelmingly talented this year, and last year they showed this is the best Michigan team we're ever going to face. And we're going to go toe to toe. They've really redefined themselves as a defensive team, kind of like the Chiefs with Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, they'll get after you. They will, and that is not the Dwayne Haskins Ohio State. So I think everything's coming together. I am not even going to talk about hot seat or anything. I think you should really be, if you're going to pick a national champion, anybody who doesn't pick them or Georgia is taking a wild risk, in my opinion.
855-212-4227. The other thing about RyanDay, whether or not he's quote unquote on the hot seat, and people say, oh, he's 56-8. Don't tell a fan base how to feel. You can't tell Ohio State people, hey, just look at the overall. Yeah, we know he can beat Youngstown State. Got it. We know he can beat Purdue and all the other also ran Big Ten teams. We get that you can beat Rutgers. Congrats. Don't tell an Ohio State fan. I never want to tell a fan base, relax or calm down or chill out because this person's overall record is awesome when you've lost 3 in a row to Michigan when you were dominating that, right? And so if there are Ohio State fans who feel a certain type of way about RyanDay, again, the $20 million in NIL, you should have a great team. No kidding. Obviously. I never want to tell a fan base, oh, you can't criticize this person or you can't feel a certain type of way because overall their record is great when it's about this game. And I don't know how much it's going to be about this game in the future. We'll talk about how the 12-team college football playoff may water down this rivalry at some point in the future. But for now, I get why Ohio State fans are fed up. They don't want to keep losing. And if he loses to Sharon Moore, there's going to be problems.
Yeah, definitely. But, I don't know. I'm not sure I hear all that clamoring for RyanDay's job. It feels like they are in pretty good shape as a program right now.
But you said if they lose to Michigan this year.
If they lose to Michigan, because this year, I guess the expectations are higher, but they're going to kill them. They're going to kill everybody, except maybe Oregon. Oregon's also awesome. So the other thing, with their schedule, they can definitely afford 2 losses. you mentioned, you sort of hinted at the rivalry might be watered down because there's an actual reality. They're going to be in the playoff. So with a 12-team playoff, Maggie, are you going to fire RyanDay after he makes a playoff, even if it's a 12-team playoff?
The 12-team playoff is going to save a lot of coaches.
Yeah, I agree. So I think RyanDay is in a safer spot, and I think a lot of programs would take RyanDay. If RyanDay got to the 12-team playoff and got fired by Ohio State, he'd be scooped up in 2 seconds and bring all that talent with him. Yeah. The guy obviously can recruit. I mean, look at his team. It's a dream team.
Right, but again, it's recruiting, but also with NIL now, it's like you're recruiting and you have more money to offer.
Yeah,
so
and you're transfer portaling it up with Will Howard.
Sure. I don't know if you get credit for the recruiting wins like you used to. I mean, we know there was stuff going on behind the scenes with the $100 handshakes and the suitcases full of cash and stuff, but now it's all above board for every team.
Yeah.
Like, if you have endless deep pockets when it comes to NIL, do you really get credit for recruiting everybody? It's like you signed the biggest bag. Like, you signed them to the biggest bag.
Yeah, but is it the money similar enough where you can sort of battle with Alabama or Georgia over these guys? I mean, they stole Caleb Downs. That was pretty crazy. I was looking at one thing. One guy they lost, Julian Fleming. Remember him? He was a really good wide receiver there.
Yeah.
He left because he wasn't even going to play, and he's the number one receiver at his new team. Like they have wildly talented players who just can't even get on the field there. This particular team is just so stacked. The problem last year was Kyle McCord was not good. You're absolutely right. But even last year, they basically were right there. They were knocking on the doorstep of the title.
Can we ask this question on social media? It's a little fast forward of the season, but if Ohio State loses to Michigan this year, ... what happens? Because I don't think the fan base is going to be like, get them next time. Like, we're still in the college football playoff. Maybe they are, maybe. But also, let's not forget this. The Big Ten title game is no longer going to be like the walkover that it was because they got rid of the divisions. So it's no longer East and West playing against each other. So it's like, congrats, you get to go play Iowa, and if you score 10 points, you win. Now it's going to be a little bit different. It's just the top two teams in the Big Ten. So that could give you another great quality win, or it could hand you another loss.
Yeah, that's definitely all true. I mean, I'd be really surprised. Listen, I understand the Oregon game is going to be hard, but...
Yeah. That's at Oregon.
I'd be very
October
surprised.
12th.
There are 12 teams. If anybody except Georgia can compete with Ohio State, I think this is the year. I think they're rolling to the title game. They're going to be there, Maggie. Like, you could talk about RyanDay all you want. They're about to destroy teams.
The notable games they play this year, obviously Perloff mentioned it. So they play Iowa on the Saturday, October 5th. Then they're at Oregon the next week. Then Nebraska. Then at Penn State. And obviously then they finish out the season, we know, with a game against Michigan. And it's home this year for Ohio State, obviously.
Yeah.
So that should help. 855-212-4227. If RyanDay and Ohio State loses to Michigan this year, fill in the blank. Is he out? 855-212-4227. Okay, lots to do. Oh, man. We have another. We got to get to this. Actually, somewhat related to this topic about what do you do with your fall schedule? Nico just said summer just flew by. It's over. It feels over. Got a big question for you. Big what if. We'll do that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. All right, Maggie, you brought up the big question this fall. Not who's going to win the national title, not who's making the playoffs in the NFL. What is on your social calendar in the month of October? Maggie, break it down.
Yeah.
This is tearing apart a nation.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that Andrew Bogusch is in here because he's the one who first brought it to our attention of just all the things that are happening on the Saturday, October 12th. Saturday, October 12th is going to be a really big one, everyone. So you got Ohio State and Oregon. You got Ole Miss, LSU, Penn State, USC. Did I miss any? Texas, Oklahoma, obviously. You got the Red River. How could I forget that? And I think those are basically the headliners, as if that's not enough. So you got this stacked college football schedule, morning till night. You're totally booked. And this has become like one of the very popular wedding days, Bogish, as you were telling us. October 12th, everything is happening.
It's Columbus Day weekend.
Oh,
so the not.com said it's the 5th most popular wedding date in 2024.
Good grief.
Saturday of a long weekend.
So the question is it bad form to get married on a fall Saturday? I think this might be geographical. It might be a little less forgivable if you're solidly in SEC and Big Ten country.
If you live in the state of Alabama and you get married on a Saturday in the fall, even I'm not going. I mean, that is obviously, there's certain states, this isn't even a discussion, right? Like, we're not talking about Georgia and Alabama. We're talking about the other 48 states.
Right. Yeah. You get excommunicated. They basically run you out of town. No one would even attempt it. Now, what's better, though, about if you live in a state, if you live in a southern state, you do have more options for better weather weekends. You know, you live in the Northeast, maybe the Pacific Northwest. You know, you got to be a little more careful if you're trying to add in outdoor elements to your wedding, let alone just like the entire northern part. Like, you know, I'm from upstate New York. It's snowed on October 12th. You know, you got to be, or it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. You got to take advantage of those dates because, you know, basically November, December, like it's in a deep freeze.
Right, but I mean, no offense, but nobody cares about anything that happens Northeast in college football.
That's
you could
true.
Schedule your wedding for any day you want. Sorry, there was that 1 year Donovan McNabb was at Syracuse, but that was a long time ago. I do think you're right. It's totally regional. I wonder this Penn State, you said some interesting games like, oh man, you can't miss Ole Miss LSU. Remember that game last year? It was awesome.
Yep.
Oregon, that's huge. All these games are big. Penn State USC, I would schedule a wedding for that. I don't buy that fan base.
No,
LA, you can schedule the Oscars that day. Who knows who's showing up to that game? Penn State USC. I mean, I don't know. And also too, it's like this. You said all these great rivalry games. Then you get Penn State USC, the new Big Ten rivalry.
Well, a budding rivalry, one of those cross-country, coast-to-coast rivalries that we've been waiting
it sounded
for.
so weird. You're like, you know, the classic matchups. LSU, Ole Miss, you know.
Listen, you throw out the
Penn
record
State,
books when Penn State USC meet. I don't know if they've really ever met.
That's the way you said that.
Rose Bowl, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Penn State USC.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's a big game for Penn State, so you might as well just put the L down right now.
Oh, my gosh.
It's James Franklin. We'll see where USC is ranked.
Penn State's a 4.5-point favorite right now.
Yeah, okay.
DraftKings.
Could
Okay.
also be Dodger playoff game that day, too.
Well,
October.
then, you know LA. Like, that's different. The Dodgers are on a higher ground.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's regional. I think it's in the certain quadrant of the U.S. You can't do it.
Did you think about it when you guys got married? I thought about it. We got married in the dead of the off season. July, whatever day we got married, 24th, 26th. We can never remember. Got married just in the dog days to make sure that we weren't around any sporting events.
I got married the night before the NFL draft while working at Sirius NFL Radio.
Oof.
Nailed it.
I got married in September. It was no big deal.
Because here's the thing, guys. This feels a lot like the Scotty Scheffler should miss his child being born. You're gonna, hate to be whatever, a northerner, you're gonna be okay if you miss LSU Ole Miss for your best friend's wedding. It's your best friend's wedding. Come on, people.
If he's really your best friend, he wouldn't have scheduled it.
Wait, do you have tickets to the game? I mean, are we talking about watching on TV or being there because you go to every game?
If I have season tickets, I can miss a game for a wedding. This drives me nuts. This makes me so angry. There's so many things that go into picking a wedding date. When the place is available, the date might mean something to you. The cost, the weather. Like, we got married on a Friday night because it was cheaper than a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, there's a million things that go into weddings. I can't imagine having the gall to be mad at somebody because they're making me miss a football game.
Well, you silently, you know. See,
no, like, I'm okay.
So here's the other part.
Matter.
Here's the other part, right? Is it also bad form because in this day and age, you could just watch the game on your phone? You know, like, I've had to sneak away at many a family function that happens to try to catch the end of sometimes NFL playoff games, college games for sure, all these different things. And I feel bad doing that. I watched American Pharaoh win the Triple Crown at a cocktail hour. Like, you know, sometimes you feel kind of bad. Like, if I'm going to be at the wedding, I want to be present at the wedding. So I think it's also bad form to be sitting there on your phone watching at the table like, to me, if you're going to be there, be present. But I can gripe a little that somebody actually has their wedding. If they're big football fans to have their wedding in the middle of football season, come on.
I kind of hate weddings, by the way. I'm definitely like
overrated.
I just think a lot of guys are like, oh God, I got to go to a wedding. I don't know where you guys stand on that. Like, it's painful.
Free food and drinks.
I like them better now.
I know there's a certain engaged person on the show right now.
Yeah,
but
EJ's not happy.
Does everyone else react that way? Like, oh crap, an invite just came in the mail.
So there's a time in your life, I'm sure everyone went through this, where you're going to a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Like the summer that I myself got married, we went to like 6 in a row or something. So then they got a little like, oh boy, we got another wedding and another one. Now I love them because they're few and far between. Sometimes we're getting the second marriage. Sometimes we're getting the younger crowd. And so I like them and appreciate them more now.
Okay. I can't stand them. I just don't. I'm with the football crowd. Like, bogus. Like, I would be like, if it was a Sunday and there was an NFL game on, I would just bail. I'd pretend I was sick.
And I think that is unbelievable.
I'd pretend I was sick.
I don't know.
God.
It's just like, you have to sit there. The service takes too long. The best man speech is so boring.
Let
like,
me
you
speak
want
to
to
EJ
die.
for a second. EJ, I'm not going to presume to be invited to your wedding, but if I am, I don't care when it is. You get married on the day you want to get married.
Thank you, Bogus.
Yeah, seriously. You do you.
Christmas Day.
Fine. I'll see you there. Open presents in the morning.
Christmas morning. Yeah.
I feel like, to me, as someone who has been to now to a wedding and a wedding reception thing that wasn't during fall, I feel like the winter playoff wedding thing is worse. Like, I was at a wedding when the Giants beat the Vikings in a playoff game. I was at a wedding last year. I forgot who was playing last year, but there was a wild card game last year that was on, and I was at a wedding. Like, to me, that's worse because I feel like everybody follows the NFL. I think you could probably avoid January.
Well, I think sometimes people forget that the NFL games switched to Saturdays, and it feels like that's getting earlier and earlier. I watched your Eagles beat the Atlanta Falcons at like a cousin's birthday party.
But you can't schedule those in advance. So I think you're off the hook if playoff schedules are not predetermined. The college football schedules are predetermined. Isn't it a different topic?
It's regular season, Pearl. Like that I couldn't buy.
But there's so few home college games. In reality, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you only get so many chances to tailgate. I think it's different. I mean, listen,
if I can't get drunk in a parking lot and pee in a porta potty, I mean, what's my life? No, I'm just kidding.
Ole Miss football is going to last. Ole Miss football is going to last forever.
Yeah.
Like, that is
but
never.
they're ranked in the
never
top 10
leave.
this year.
You don't get that many games. That's the real issue. Like, we say that, but
you don't get many weddings.
Well,
right.
Fair.
Also, I feel like if you don't want to go to a wedding for the football game, don't go. That's another thing I don't understand. My thing is like, I'm totally fine with being like, hey, I can't go to this.
No, I think women drag men to them because, like, your wife is going to drag if it's her side or her friend. You're not getting out of that.
Yeah,
My
EJ.
husband, I would never let him out of that. If I was a non-sports loving woman and he was like, I'm sorry, I'm staying home to watch Ole Miss LSU, I'd be like, the hell you are. Like, that's not gonna fly with a lot of women.
Yeah, EJ, that was an engaged person statement, not a married person statement. Give it 6 months. You have no choices left in your life.
I gotten out of a wedding for Comic-Con once, and I got out of a wedding because I was just doing too many weddings one year. I can't. I'm work on the weekends. I can't.
Yeah. Wait.
I had 1 year where I had like 4 or 5 weddings. Like,
I
don't know. I
just
think,
say I do.
Throw your weight around a little bit.
There's also
you are going to lose some flexibility with your schedule. Just
Comic-Con. That's comical.
And now, but we're also back to context, like interceptions. Like, not every wedding is the same one. Like, sometimes you get to you're on the C list to a wedding, and you can go, you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to miss this, so we're not going to go to the wedding. There are other weddings that you just have to be at, that you've got no choice for whatever your connection to that person. It's in the family, and then too damn bad if it's on the same day as something big. I can't get over this one. This one drives me nuts. I don't think I'd forgive a friend if he's like, hey, I can't come to your games. I'm going to Alabama, LSU.
Could we ask the audience, have you missed weddings and family functions for sports? 855-212-4227. So far, even though I've missed like family things because we've been at games and like you have to work and stuff like that, but I don't think I've ever missed a wedding for a game.
Right. And like, you can miss, like, things are missable, but like other things aren't. Like, would you not go to your parents' like 50th wedding anniversary because you want to watch a football game? You're a bad person.
No, you can't.
That's
do
a
that.
tough one. 50, maybe 35. I would skip.
There it is.
But I can't wait. I'm getting a little preview into the life of EJ Stewart.
Yeah.
Missed a wedding for Comic-Con. Man, I'm going to laugh so hard. If you eventually have kids, the things you're going to miss, and I'm going to laugh. Comic-Con. Oh, my God.
EJ, no. Listen, maybe Andre is very cool, and you guys have your own relationship, and maybe this will fly. You will be the envy of every man in your life.
No. That is, again, that's not even a hypothetical because it's not happening, Maggie. Maybe this will fly. It won't fly.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, man. I feel for you.
The good news, I feel like, Maggie, you mentioned earlier that like there are stretches in your life when you go through a lot of the weddings. I feel like I passed that.
It tapers off. Totally.
Right. Because like it was like the 2002 year. I think I went to 5 or 6 weddings.
Yeah.
It's why when I got to the end, I was like, I just can't do another one.
Yeah, you're just broke. You're hungover.
Yeah.
You're fat. It's just at the end of wedding season, it is like Wedding Crashers. Your feet are killing you.
Being single at weddings now, that was fun. I don't know if you guys ever did that. For the man, at least, I've
never got.
I was like, I'm batting 1,000 in this situation. Everybody's hammered.
The pool,
you're
pool
dressed
of
nice.
candidates is very small.
Yes. Well, it depends. When you're in your 20s, there are a lot more single people. And I've heard that bridesmaids are like at least want to make out with somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to.
I've heard tale.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to pay that much for a dress, you're at least going to kiss somebody, right?
We had our wedding in a hotel partly because it made it easier for everybody, but because I wanted shenanigans. Let's have some shenanigans go down.
Yeah.
And shenanigans did go down.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Bragging about shenanigans at your wedding. You didn't have shenanigans. You got married.
I was on the sidelines, but no, there were plenty other shenanigans. And in that specific, I didn't want anyone drinking and driving. I didn't want anyone to feel any kind of way. It's like we're doing this here at the hotel. Everyone we're camping out here.
Did you throw keys in a jar?
in a bowl? Yeah, next to the
Me
white
too.
powder. Yeah, it was like that.
Key party? Yeah.
No, stuff went down in my wedding.
Maggie, was your wedding
talking
like
about it.
Still
was it like the
talking
Olympic? Was it like the Olympic Village? What the hell
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it was the Olympic Village.
That's how she met Zoo. Zoo was there handing out protection. You should work in radio.
Sue was in middle school when I got married. Probably still dealing condoms. Weirdo. 855-212. Why am I giving the number? It's time for Bogish to do headlines. Top that.
I want more wedding stories. We are only 8 days removed from that amazing U.S.-Serbia Olympic semifinal. Unlike us, Carmelo Anthony was courtside for it.
That probably is one of the greatest games I've ever been to.
Facts.
The greatest.
I'm waiting for Perloff to be angry at that statement. No?
I mean, listen, like this is if you want to see the face of how overrated Olympic men's basketball is, let's interview Carmelo Anthony.
Well, it was almost the Bogdanovich game. And after one of his early threes, Bogey used Melo's 3 to the dome celebration. The current U.S. players in the moment didn't love it, but Melo now says he didn't mind.
It was real time, going on. I'm not even saying nothing to Bogey. I'm like, as he's playing, he make a shout. Oh, I like that, Bogey. I see you. I'm talking that to him. So I appreciate everybody taking my side, but the real was he was showing love. I really wanted to. He knocked that 3 down like that. I'm like, I can't show no emotion. Just accept what comes with it. I really want to be like, yo, Dad, that was crazy. I wanted to point at.
All of that from Melo's 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. I'll point out as well that EJ left a curse word in. I don't know if he was purposely trying to sabotage me, but I did catch it on the way out of the newsroom.
Honestly, if you've listened to that podcast, they just kind of like blend in. I don't even know how.
Yeah, when there's 13 in 27 seconds, you might miss one.
Yeah, that one's not for kids. But that was such a funny moment. Melo seemed like he was going to step on the court and catch a pass from Kevin Durant.
Was it Devin Booker that was posting about Bogey after the game, and LeBron in the game was mad about it? Like, there's a lot going on.
The thing that Melo gets himself in trouble with, and I know nobody... saying that you would not give back your 3 gold medals to win an NBA title is just it's just a lie. Maybe he's convinced himself that this is what he would really do that, but that's just not true. And it exceeds my the bounds of belief. Anyway.
EJ, you think that is possible? I agree with Maggie. There's 0 chance that's true.
I think there's a chance that he only knows this reality. He only knows the reality where he won 3 gold medals. And I think when you only live one reality, you don't know what the other side is. I think there's a chance you could be like, oh, yeah, you know what? My life is fine.
No, he won in college. He knows what it's like to win.
That too. I think the fact that he won in college actually also lessens the blow of not having a title. I think he's like, I won in college. I won the Olympics. If I got to give up all my Olympic medals when I'm the greatest Olympian in the U.S. history outside of Kevin Durant, I could see it. Not that I agree with it, but I don't know I don't think he's lying.
Nobody thinks of Melo as a winner. They did coming out of Syracuse, but he doesn't have that reputation.
No. Feels like he was more interested in scoring a lot of points than winning a title.
This is a little Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it, when he's trying to coach Jerry on how to beat the lie detector test.
I don't know. I'll give him some credit for because I can't imagine the emotion of winning something with USA on your chest. I'm a sucker for international competition. That's why I like the Olympics. That feeling, whether it was easy or not, because it was basketball and it was I don't care. To stand there with a medal around your neck with a USA jersey on and the national anthem's playing and to do it 3 times, there's no way that doesn't feel great. So he does, like he just said, he doesn't know how great an NBA title would have felt, but I'm not going to dismiss what he feels about winning gold medals for Team USA. Like, that's legit.
All right.
I agree with that.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. Anything else?
Drake May's second preseason game included 6 completions, 47 yards in the air, and 1 rushing touchdown.
I think, definitely some things I can clean up. Had some good things, had some bad plays. I said the drop snaps, inexcusable for me. And other than that, probably just sometimes I feel like I'm scrambling when I can probably sit in there and hang on and try to make a throw. So definitely a lot of things to learn from.
May was long gone by the time the Eagles got a 14-13 win in Foxborough last night. Jacoby Brissett, Bailey Zappi, and Joe Milton all play for New England as well. No Jalen Hurts for Philly. On the heels of trading for Matthew Judon, the Falcons have now signed former Broncos safety Justin Simmons. He was a cap casualty in Denver this spring. He gets $8 million for this coming season. Simmons, a 4-time second-team All-Pro. And nothing like a tie-breaking sack fly top 9. That's how the Twins got a 3-2 win in Texas last night. The Rangers, by the way, the champs from last year, are once again 10 games off the pace in the AL West.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
I watched that game. An out-of-market non-Phillies baseball game. It was on FS1. I'm like, wow, this is kind of fascinating. There you go. You did not see that coming.
You watch it instead of football or in addition to football?
Well, the football guy, like when the backups got in the football, except for Joe Milton, I'm like, oh, God, this is painful. Like, third string preseason football is kind of tough to watch. So I'm like, hey, well, let's see what else on. I got a little WNBA. Oh, look at this baseball game. So I will be honest, like, I find a regular season out-of-market game is kind of tough to watch, right? Like, do people sit and watch a random Twins-Rangers game?
I just love that you want credit for this when we work in sports.
Yeah, well, we work in sports, right? Like, the sports that people like. Like, nobody watches out-of-market baseball. The ratings reflect that. I think this is a huge achievement. I actually know exactly what you're talking about with the Rangers Twins, and most people here probably do not in this building.
The bigger shock is that he was actually listening to your update.
I was just going to say that. That's what you listened to?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Wait, what?
I know we work in sports. Do you think anybody that we're watching on TV on ESPN or Fox Sports watched that Twins-Rangers game? No.
I mean, I love baseball. I didn't even know it was on FS1 last night.
Yeah, exactly. That's a part of the problem with MLB. Like, you never know when a game is good, what game's going to be on when or where. NFL has it mastered because the schedule is so appointment-based. But, I'll break down the game for you in the break. I'll talk about some of the interesting pitching decisions by the Twins coaching staff.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Ron Gardenhire.
Yeah, sure. Good. Still there.
About 15 years later.
Gardy.
Ken Turbeck at first base.
Gardenhire's still there. Quickly, let's hit Barry's in New Jersey. We asked you if you've ever not gone to a wedding on a fall Saturday because you wanted to watch a football game. Hey, Barry, what's up?
Well, I was just thinking that it makes it doubly difficult if you embrace Judaism, because on Saturday you can't get married until dark on Saturday, and in September, October, the days are still fairly long until daylight savings time goes away and it gets dark at 5:30 or 6 o'clock again. And then if you're a pro football fan, what do you do about Sunday when you're permitted to get married? So it makes it very difficult.
You might want to pick out like a nice Wednesday afternoon, and just avoid everything altogether. We should mention that October 12th is also a religious holiday that day too.
Thursday is allowable in the Jewish religion, and is even suggested, and that beats the problem with having the conflicts with Saturday and Sunday.
What about Titans Jags though? They play every Thursday.
No, wait a minute. There has to be some exclusions. Titans Jags.
Every Thursday night game of all time has been Titans Jags.
Exactly right.
Barry, thank you so much. Yes.
Aren't there a lot of weddings on Saturday night? That doesn't seem like a big problem. Isn't most weddings Saturday night? Or
Yeah, he's just saying you have to wait till sundown.
Right, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and then you're catching, West Coast games.
Yeah, because I've been to 1,000 Jewish weddings on Saturday night. Like
they just start a little later. Barry, thank you so much.
What is the prime wedding time? Don't they usually start at like 6 o'clock on a Saturday night?
I think generally you're probably walking down the aisle around 7 o'clock, 6 or 7. But a lot of people get married at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon also.
Yeah, like a Catholic wedding in a church in like late morning, early afternoon, and then you maybe go take pictures, and then you reconvene for the stuff at night.
I've done like I've been to weddings. I've been in weddings, full Catholic mass.
Yeah.
It's like an hour or more, and then you kind of take a break, and then you go to the reception after.
What time did I get married? Does anyone here remember? I'm trying to think. Was it night or day?
I was in high school.
Your wedding was also a
2000
memorable wedding because
2008
all-time best man speech that I heard about in the office.
Yeah, so it was 2008. I think it was 4 o'clock. It was raining. What time did you get married?
I walked down the aisle around 7:20 because a little bit of rain, just a little good luck. They wiped it off the chairs.
Oh,
and then I walked
you were
down the aisle.
outside and you had to wait for a little bit of rain?
Just a tiny bit.
Oh, that's stressful. I'm sure that was
I
not
was
fun.
blacked out drunk. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding,
Halfway
guys.
there. But did you have a tent?
I was starving.
Did you have a backup plan?
The reception was inside. I just wanted the ceremony outside.
So what if it had been pouring?
I was putting my faith in God that day. No, I don't know. Everyone would have been wet.
Interesting.
Yeah. Was
Gotcha.
there a plan B? Yeah, there must have been. I just don't remember.
Bosh, what time did you get married?
Same. It was Friday night, so I think it was like 7 or 7:30, and we wanted to be outside, like as the sun was going down, but it rained.
But see, this is the good luck part, right? Is a little rain in your wedding day, and we're all, knock on wood, happily married, and it rained on all of our wedding days.
When my wife's sobbing because it was like torrential rain for like the 36 hours beforehand. So like the grounds were mud, and it sucked.
You were really setting up for a good marriage.
Yeah.
And it's worked. Where'd you get married?
Place on Long Island.
You guys want to keep chit-chatting about it?
Yeah, like how much that venue cost you?
How much ahead?
So you say you saved money on Friday night. What are we talking about here?
We'll get back to that in just a moment.
Chicken option, steak?
There was like 6 or 7 main course options at my wedding.
Now, we're going to have to talk about this in the break.
Yeah, the food was one of the driving reasons why we chose the place.
6 options?
Six
There was a lot.
Food?
Yeah, there was a lot.
And it wasn't a buffet?
No.
You had 6 options you could choose from?
It was a lot. It was more than 4 for sure.
That's a lot.
There was like a steak, a chicken, a fish. There was a pasta, and then a different vegetarian. There was a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. I'm going to have to get specifics.
was
Can you
big in
email your wife
2007.
and get the actual dishes, and I will choose?
I'll have the duck. 855-212-4227. Coming up, one team in danger of falling out of playoff contention in the NFL. We'll tell you who it is next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie, Gray, Andrew, Perloff. All right, this one is a little tough for me, Pearl, because I think the entire world believes my Buffalo Bills are going to maybe take a bit of a step back this year, and maybe that notion got solidified yesterday when Matt Milano went down with a torn biceps. We can just hear Dion Dawkins, the left tackle, stunned to hear the news about the Milano injury.
We don't really know anything yet. Like, we haven't, I don't even know what's going on.
Sean announced that he's going to miss some significant time with a bicep
Damn.
injury.
What, like a tear or something?
Yeah.
So, all right, so, well, that kind of just hit me a little different. So, I'm gonna just go check on my teammate. You know, I don't have no thoughts yet, but that sucks. But I can't wait to get in there so I can call him.
Yeah.
Okay, more from Dawkins said the injury to Milano will make the journey for the Bills much harder.
Me and Milano got drafted at the same time, and we've been here through every beat of this, and he's been through a couple of injuries now. And, you know, the journey just got a little harder. But, you know, Lano is a special dude. And he'll be back, and he'll fight through it.
Yeah. So I got to be honest. I was having like a flashback of EJ's knee injury there because it happened at Deion Dawkins' charity kickball event, and he was with and being very kind to EJ and trying to help you out the day that you hurt your knee, EJ. That gave me, a little.
Yeah, and then a Bengals running back tore their patellar tendon yesterday, too. I thought of EJ. Chris Evans.
Oh, man.
So, anyway, that's actually, it was the same tone Deion had when EJ got hurt.
Genuine concern tone that he had for you and for Matt Milano. But, yeah, wow, that was weird. It was like a flashback to that day. But about the Bills, you know, Perloff, listen, I get people who think they could take a step back this year.
Who are these people who think they could take a step back? You are imagining that. You've been waiting for them to take a step back since Jim Kelly lost his last Super Bowl. I think you misread this team.
Okay, sometimes I'll grant you that.
You keep saying Vegas overrates them, but then they hit their win total every year.
Yeah, but it's also sometimes it's not the result, but it's like how it looks when you get there. Like last year, the Bills did win the division, and technically they did hit their win total, but they were in must-win games for the last 5 weeks of the season and got lucky that Tua threw an interception and basically blew the game at the end of the year. That wasn't the Bills winning it. That was Miami blowing the game. That's how they won the division. They didn't deserve to win the division last year. And so, you know, they got rid of a lot of veterans. Now you have a Milano injury where he is like one of the hearts and souls of the defense. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you worry that the pass rush isn't going to be able to get home, and you worry the middle of the field is open, and you worry that Josh Allen is just going to be asked to do way too much without a number one star receiver. Even if they went away from Diggs at the end of last year a little bit, it was nice knowing that you had someone there. And, you know, he dropped a big ball in a playoff game. And I get that, but
I don't get this at all, because they showed last year when they decided to not throw the ball and hand it off all the time, they won 6 straight games and won the division. So why would they get away from that? Like, this is a better Bills formula.
Okay, but
and why would you worry about the pass rush? You're adding Von Miller to the mix now. The pass rush should be better.
Come on.
Well, he's healthy in training camp. I mean, why would the pass rush be worse?
He's like 40.
Well, why would the pass rush be worse, though? I mean, I think
Well, the pass rush could be worse if a lot of their first-round picks didn't pan out to the way that they should and need to. And it's about the middle of the field. Right now, DeMar Hamlin is a starting free safety, and I love DeMar for everything that happened and how he has came back miraculously from what happened in Cincinnati, that scary moment. But he's not a starting safety in the NFL. And it's just going to be challenging, I think, from the defensive side. People always look at Josh Allen, the offense. The defense has been one of the top defenses, and if they take a step back, this could be a very difficult season for them. They're not immune to, you know, having like a quote-unquote down year. And how many wins do you need to make the playoffs in the AFC this year?
Well,
minimum 10. Minimum.
I understand. You say they're not immune to having down seasons, but why hasn't it happened before?
Well, this is the first time they've really had to do a little bit of like a mini rebuild with Josh Allen.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, the win total is 10.5. It feels like they're going to be either a 10 or 11. I mean, it feels like that win total is pretty spot on.
Okay.
No?
Well, when they were really contenders for Super Bowls, it was more like 13-3.
But I thought last year they looked darn good against the Chiefs in that playoff game. I know they lost. But they lost a home playoff game to the Chiefs when they had the ball driving late in the game, and Josh Allen threw a bad pass in the end zone. I mean, they were right there with the Super Bowl champion, right there.
When are you going to get more shots like that, though? Right?
Probably.
And
they'll probably play the Chiefs in playoffs. I don't know, 7 out of the next 9 years.
And have they won once?
No, I'm not saying. You say when are they going to get more shots than that? This year, next year, the year after that? They're going to lose to the Chiefs until we're retired.
Awesome, but they took talent off the roster, and I understand why they needed to do it, but they did take talent off this roster, and I'm not sure if they've replaced it yet. Let's go to Bergie, who is in Florida. We're asking the question about weddings on a fall Saturday during football season, and have you ever missed a wedding for a sporting event? Hey, Bergie.
Hey, I have a kind of a playoff of this theme, which is back in, it was either 94 or 95. I think the Knicks and Pacers went back-to-back Game 7s, but in those 2 years. But the Game 7 was going on during the wedding, and we all had and leading the charge was Dietrich from Barney Miller. Steve Landisberg was my friend's who's getting married, his cousin. So he was leading the charge with his little mini TV, and we're trying to listen in on the game while the wedding, and the guy marrying my friend even brought it up. He said, we're moving it quickly so you can get back to Game 7.
Oh, my gosh.
It was great stuff.
Bergie, thank you for that. So, yeah, just incorporate the sporting event into the wedding. Ask the priest to just give updates, periodically, or whoever's marrying you, the officiant.
Yeah. The Steve Landersberger drop was interesting.
That was cool.
Was it Steve Landersberger's cousin, or was it the actual Steve Landersberger?
I didn't catch it all. I thought cousin? No?
I don't know. I'm guessing no one here has seen Barney Miller.
No. 855-212-4227. Have not. Coming up, what did Dak Prescott say about his future with the Cowboys? We'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Okay, you ready? This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute, sponsored by Wrangler. It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless.
He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogu stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembanyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogu's left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right. Can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered. For goodness sake, for goodness sake, Bogu's cruising highways, hilarity atop San Antonio shining. The city's calling their names, the Bogu's sitting home, stuck playing life's cool games. Bogu's waves, he's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogu's stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against when Bogu sweeps, he's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogu's stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembanyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogu's left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, For goodness sake. For goodness sake. Bogus counting the minutes, ticking like a clock. While Perloff's cruising highways, Hilarion talk. San Antonio shining, the city's calling their names. Bogus sitting home, stuck playing life's cruel games. Bogus weeps, he's got the road trip blues, left behind.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
To be honest, this is the most positive Dak Prescott has sounded about his future with the Cowboys in quite some time. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. If you're a Cowboy fan, if you're following this kind of thing. Perloff, I was kind of setting up for a reality that Dak Prescott was going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I really was. Yesterday, he was at the podium talking about how the contracts are, the talks are actually going very well.
Good conversations are going. I will say that. Call it negotiations, whatever conversations. A lot of good things are going on there. So a lot of confidence. Once again, as I said, anytime I feel like I've talked about it, I've got confidence in my guys. These guys getting something done.
Yeah, I mean, that's not always been the messaging. The messaging 2 weeks ago was, listen, there's life after Dallas, and I'm not scared of the future. And it was very different than what we're hearing today.
Right. He talked about how Tom Brady had a great second opportunity and a lot of great quarterbacks. The funny thing about this negotiation, I was wondering, I think this is happening on the ownership side. I think they're looking around at the contracts that people are signing, and it's a wake-up call. Oh, my God, quarterbacks are getting so expensive. Maybe we should just be happy with what we have and go with Dak. I think everyone forgets what happened in January when they got blown out by Green Bay. The whole world was ready to move on from Dak Prescott. Then we sat back and looked at the numbers, and the MVP vote, he came in second and said, oh, right, he is a really good quarterback.
Right.
I think that the Joneses have seen what's going on this offseason and say that, you know what, forget it. This thought of moving on from Dak is ridiculous. Let's just re-sign him. So I think they've come back to the table for real.
Okay, but here's the thing. Dak's going to get over $60 million a year. It's not like he's the cheaper option. It might be a shorter contract, but it's not going to be cheaper. He's going to reset the market, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, actually, I lost a famous bet on this on a number.
You want to take me on again? Your face in a bowl of Skyline chili.
Get Dak for 56. I mean, whatever. I mean, is that so different? They could do 4 years, an average of 56, which is pretty much the price tag these days.
I know. Don't you think that would have gotten done already? See, that's my thing. I'm wondering if Dak Prescott's looking at Tua and other guys like, I've done way more than these guys, in my career. Granted, Dak's playoff record is not good. Whether that's all his fault, he hasn't played well in some of these playoff games. I believe is he 2-5 in playoff games? So, but he's done so much more than a lot of guys who have gotten paid. He's done more than Trevor Lawrence. He's done more than Tua, et cetera.
I don't think the Joneses were comfortable giving him 56 until now. I honestly, and by the way, now he keeps on limping around on that ankle. He says it's fine. But I think the Joneses were waiting to see what the market did, and now the market looks way different. I think if you'd asked the Joneses in March, do you want to give $56 million a year for 4 years to Dak Prescott? They would have said no way.
Okay,
but now I think that they're like, oh, man, we might as well. We have to.
Where did they think this was going, though?
50? I don't know that everyone knew it was getting to 55 for Jordan Love or whatever number.
Really? Jordan Love kicked their butt.
I'm just saying, I don't think everyone knew the market was going. I'm not sure everyone knew Tua was going to get $50 million. I think the market has been a little bit richer than I think a lot of people expected.
Okay, maybe Tua, that one was a little maybe up in the air whether they'd pay him. But I think the moment that Jordan Love stepped off that field in Dallas, and then when he backed it up the next week, nearly beating the San Francisco 49ers, like, all right, this guy's going to get paid. And
it took a while for the Jordan Love thing to happen.
But everyone thought it was going to happen.
But I don't think they knew if he would be top of the market, like 55. What is it? 4 year, 220. Someone do the math here. That's
Yeah, it was like 55.
55. I'm not sure. You think it was in March we knew Jordan Love was getting 55? That feels a little rich to me.
Well, but here's the thing. You're on the inside with the league, right? Like you are not operating in the information deficit. You're talking to agents. You don't think that they have anyone who's representing Jordan Love is not representing somebody on the Cowboys that they couldn't figure out of some kind of idea of where this contract may land or who else got paid this offseason? Trevor Lawrence? You don't think they had an idea of where that contract was going to land?
I think markets are unpredictable. I don't think it was predetermined and that everyone knew the day after the Super Bowl, this is exactly what everyone's going to sign for. I think teams were doing a lot of gymnastics to figure things out. No, I don't think they knew. You really think Jerry Jones knew exactly what all these prices were going to be? I guarantee the Niners didn't understand the wide receiver market. I'm sure they were shocked when Jalen Waddle got $28 million. So yes, I do not think it was that predictable.
I think the only shock that these teams have had was probably the Deshaun Watson 230 totally guaranteed. Everything else, I think it's your job not to be shocked by that. And maybe there's an outlier here or there, but no. You can't be successfully running a program and have no idea where the quarterback salaries are going. Again, Watson maybe, but I think this is the bigger question for the Cowboy fans out there. Dak Prescott is sounding very confident and bullish now, right? That's different than it sounded 2 weeks ago. If the news came out tomorrow, Dak signed whatever the number is, 4 years, whatever. Are you celebrating? Are you sigh of relief? Are you bummed? Like, what's going to be the visceral reaction you have when it comes across, all of a sudden you get an alert on your phone or you hear it from us, Dak signed. What are you like, or are you happy? Hey, maybe this guy will put it together at some point. I'd be curious for that for Cowboy fans because I wonder if it's split. Or because I think you should be feeling relieved. Trey Lance is not looking great. Cooper Rush is not your answer. You know that. Where's this next great quarterback coming from? If you're going to win 10 games or 11 games this year, you're not going to be picking in the top 5. And the Shedeur Sanders Dion thing, can't be any Cowboy fan in the world that actually wants that. That's a circus. That's for clicks.
I think they might want Shedeur Sanders.
Well, let's see him play the season.
He's pretty good. But the one thing, though, I think one of the homes for Dak was Miami. I don't think you say it was definitely they were going to re-sign Tua. I think when Tua signed, I think Dak was like, you know what? I don't think Dak's going with McVay in L.A. because McVay doesn't need an older quarterback like Dak. I just think like
you think Dak's now afraid of free agency? I disagree with you there.
Like where's he going to go? He doesn't want to. I mean, what's the great home for Dak next year that's better than Dallas?
We went through yesterday, back of the envelope, all of the jobs that may be open next year, all of the quarterbacks who could be playing the final season in their current team. And we had 8 places.
But they're all bad, and some of them were like Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, so that's not a place.
Okay, well, we also had Derek Carr, we had Daniel Jones, we had Matthew Stafford. That's not bad.
I honestly, I've heard this rumor that Dak will go to LA. I do not see that marriage happening. Like, Sean McVay doesn't need Dak Prescott, but go ahead.
Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, whatever's happening in Pittsburgh, whatever's happening in Las Vegas. Like, you can say they're not great. I'm asking if you want to get paid. You have teams on here who would give Dak Prescott $60 million a year. And I can't promise you a perfect spot that you're going to win and you're going to get paid. But if you want to get paid, there are teams on here that would shell out for Prescott.
Dak Prescott does not want to go to Las Vegas Raiders for $3 million more a year.
You don't know.
You're asking me if there's
going to be a market for him. I'm telling you.
No. But a realistic market, like where he's going to want to go. I think he wanted to go to Miami for sure. It just felt like that was like a nice one.
Yeah.
I don't think he's thrilled. He's not going to come. He doesn't want to go to the Giants. He doesn't want to lose like a ton of games. I don't think there's anything for him. I think he's looking at the situation saying, I want to be in Dallas. And I think Dallas is now looking at the situation saying, we want Dak Prescott.
How do you know you're going to win in Dallas, by the way? Like, where's you thought Dak Prescott's best chance to win a Super Bowl would be somewhere else.
Yeah.
But so what's changed?
I just think the way first of all, everybody resigned. Like there was every other quarterback that we came in the season wondering about, they all resigned. So that's one thing that changed. And the other thing is that the Cowboys say, oh man, there's not going to be anybody available. So I think it's just like the marriage is coming together. It feels more certain now. And again, this is just a feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you're right. It was all predetermined, but it feels more certain now that Dak and the Cowboys are going to be together than it did right after the season ended.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, but I still think that he shouldn't be afraid of free agency. I
mean, look at the teams you said; those are like quarterback deserts. The Raiders, the Giants, the Steelers.
What's Miami won? Why, Miami hasn't won a playoff game since 2000. What are we doing here?
South Beach.
Great. So it's lifestyle South Beach, but Las Vegas would not be attractive to him.
Yeah.
Your logic doesn't hold up.
Well, you got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think
Devontae Adams,
I
Max
think
Crosby.
honestly, of all those teams you named, the Rams and the Dolphins feel way a cut above. Like, yeah, you would want to go to those places. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and the Rams. Yeah, that's exciting. But again, I don't know why I don't see that marriage is happening.
You don't even think the Dolphins are going to make the playoffs this year?
No.
So what's the appeal? Really, South Beach? Come on.
Dak's way better than Tua, I think.
So you think they would be a playoff team if Dak was there?
Yes.
Oh.
I actually, Tua's pretty good, but he's going to get hurt. Yeah. Dak and Miami. If you gave Dak, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, and say H.N. gets healthy, that's a pretty good offense.
Yeah, but Tua getting them the ball is not the problem. He had more passing yards than any other quarterback in the NFL last year. Like, Tua's getting these guys the ball. The problem is winning in the playoffs. And spoiler, Dak Prescott can't win in the playoffs either. So I
think from Dak's point of view, that would be a nice home, though. I really think it's way better, more talented offensively than Dallas. I mean, like after CD, if CeeDee Lamb doesn't catch the ball, you've been in big trouble there.
Yeah, that's for sure. 855-212-4227. Curious for the Cowboy fans out there. Say Dak's talking very confidently now. Kind of feels like maybe they're circling in on something.
What will be
your reaction when this news, if this news comes across 4 years, whatever the number? Are you relieved? Are you bummed?
One thing, Dak's always been kind of smiley this offseason. Like, he's never been down on the team. He did throw out that greater quarterback. Like, is this like, do you trust Dak? Dak's quite a politician. Like, what's going on here? And if he does, again, if he signs this deal, is it just 5 more years of 12-5? Are they going to be a Super Bowl team?
I think that they will be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think Dak is capable of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, you're asking me how many quarterbacks actually can win. I don't see why he wouldn't be one of those. Granted, he has not played great during the playoffs, but there were awful playoff games from Eli Manning, from Peyton Manning. I mean, we saw terrible playoff games from quarterbacks who went on to win playoff games. He's not Peyton Manning, I get that, but we've seen guys have terrible playoff games and have still gone on to win.
Definitely.
855-212-4227. So fill in and finish that sentence. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys get a deal done. You're feeling how? Excited? Relieved? A little disappointed? Maybe you wanted a little more of the unknown, like with a possibility of what could be over more Dak?
Yeah, I think in March you felt that way, but now you look around and be like, oh boy. I mean, if the Dolphins
are getting slim.
I mean, if Tua Tagovailoa is getting $52 million a year from the Dolphins, like, yeah, we'll take Dak. I mean, it's just it's a strange market right now. And
it was always the right answer
to keep Dak.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, listen, they can't stop the run or run the ball right now. That's probably a bigger problem right now. It's just a weird time to be a Cowboys fan. There's just no other way around it. Like, you say, are you excited? How can you be excited about anything? You keep getting killed in the playoffs. It's very hard right now. I think there's a reason there weren't people in those stands. Feels like we're watching the same movie on repeat.
855-212-4227. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/Infinity Sports Net, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We say good morning to our awesome Infinity Sports Network affiliates who we absolutely love. Sirius XM channel 158 is a great way to listen to the show. Also, the free Odyssey app, which you can download and take with you wherever you go. We also have a podcast, Maggie and Perloff. If you give us a 5-star review, it's a small thing that really does help us out quite a bit. And I think that's every place you can get the show. Oh, at Maggie Gray on Twitter, also on X. Okay, coming up, new sports movie on the horizon. I cannot wait for this. And I'm like 40% sure it's going to be a total train wreck and nobody's going to be able to look away. This could be one of the all-time great sports movies or one of the worst sports movies ever made. And I feel like there's no in between. We'll tell you what's going on next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal. Find a store at metalsupermarkets.com. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal. Find a store at metalsupermarkets.com. We all know the infamous college.
4 minutes
we all
remaining.
know the infamous college sports programs. The Pony Express SMU team, Arizona State gambling scandal, Reggie Bush at USC. But I don't think anyone saw the next one coming. Notre Dame is suspending its men's swimming program for a year for all kinds of infractions, including gambling. Who knew the real renegades on campus were wearing Speedos? I'm Andrew Perloff.
Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Seems to be new movie announcement season, and one came out last night that thrilled about. I cannot wait. Nic Cage, the great Nic Cage, the great Nicolas Cage, is going to be playing a man that I think surprises you, Maggie. He will be playing John Madden, and then boom, in a new movie by David O. Russell, who's like no joke. Big time filmmaker. This is not some chintzy made for TV movie. This is going to be a film, as you might say. And I think this is beyond perfect.
I think it would have been more perfect if Nicolas Cage was actually playing Al Davis, the owner of the Raiders.
He'd be
I
good
could see
at that, too.
as a better casting than John Madden, but Nicolas Cage, I think there's 40% chance this is a total train wreck because there's a possibility here Nicolas Cage, who's awesome, could overact this thing, you know? But
Yeah,
I'll
but-
be buying a ticket no matter what. But there's a non-zero chance that this could be a total flop.
How do you overact John Madden? The guy was all over the place. Like, that's the thing. That's why Nic Cage works, because John Madden was a larger-than-life guy with a funny voice, too. I mean, we're used to it now because we hear it so much. But John Madden's voice is kind of odd, and Nic Cage, I think this is I think they actually sound a little bit like Madden's like, you know, like the fact that Frank Caliendo still leads his act with a John Madden impersonation, and the guy hasn't been on TV in 20 years just shows he's so iconic. Who knows? I mean, you might not like this movie, but you ever seen the movie American Hustle?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Right, but they made Christian Bale look like a completely different human
That's
being
true.
in that. So who's like one of the best looking people in Hollywood. They made look like this weird, overweight, bald guy. They're going to make Nic Cage look like a late John Madden, and I think it's going to work.
So this guy who's doing this movie is like Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle. And
Awesome,
There's
awesome.
always just sadness to some of these characters, right? Like
Right.
it's dramatic and it's tense. Are they going to paint John Madden as a tense, sad-ish character? Because when I saw the director choice, I'm like, this is not a happy-go-lucky type of movie. This is about, you know, people's impulses and their vulnerabilities. And, you know, to me, John Madden is a triumph story. You know, he won as a coach. He was successful as a broadcaster, maybe against the odds, and then became this video game mogul which no one could have saw and was a pioneer in that way.
Sort of.
What's the tragedy?
Right.
You
I
know?
don't know. Video game mogul is kind of an odd way to describe him because he didn't like invent the video. I mean, whatever, right? He probably didn't know the first thing about computers. Just so we're clear, if you don't know. Yeah, John Madden just sort of lent his name and his voice to this show. But Madden is definitely interesting. Why did he quit so soon? I mean, he was on
from
top.
coaching?
Why did he quit? Why can't he fly? Like that is
Okay, maybe
yeah.
you go
No, he's
into some of
definitely
the
he's
more
got a lot
quirky
going on.
things, but-
Also, he came up. He had a huge assist from Summerall. Like there was a lot of drama in John Madden's life early. I think there's many, many layers to this guy. And the bus is so awesome. He had this Madden cruiser. I just want to see the bus. And like all the they were such a big deal. I find I said this the other day. 70s and 80s broadcasting, like these guys were superstars. You only had 3 channels. Everyone knew John Madden. He was your Sunday afternoon companion. I think it's kind of a cool topic.
And John Madden was on every one of those channels because he basically did every single network over the course of his career outside of ESPN, right? Yeah. So,
And also, if you want to get some 70s Raiders, there's nothing more fascinating than that.
So there you go. Nicolas Cage is going to be playing John Madden. Again, I would have thought Nicolas Cage could have played Al Davis.
That would have been good casting too. I like that.
But I don't know how much they're going to focus in on the Raider days or what era of Madden. There's so many different ones.
Well, I think
Who plays Summerall?
Who could play Pat Summerall?
Probably a lot of people.
Yeah,
But you need the voice. That's a hard voice to try to match.
Well, it's got to be an older actor. How about Sir Anthony Hopkins?
He's maybe a little too old.
I don't know.
I could see your former boss and friend Dan Patrick being somehow in this movie. I could see him with a cameo somehow.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I don't know if DP knew Madden. Madden was never really at ESPN. Was he at ESPN?
I think so.
He did
work
ABC
with Al
for
Michaels
sure.
with ABC, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if ABC was part of ESPN back then. We got to cast Summerall. Let's do some updates, and I'm going to rack my brain and go through. I might call a talent agency. How are we going to cast Pat Summerall? There's got to be somebody who's just perfect for this role.
Andrew Bogish. Well, maybe not you, but you have updates for it.
You guys probably didn't know you needed a Colorado State, Kansas State football battle, but here it is. Rams head coach Jay Norvell saying earlier this week that QB Braden Fowler Nicolosi received a pretty sweet offer from somebody connected to K-State to hop in the portal earlier in the offseason.
You know, smoking gun. You know, he said guy from Kansas State called him, offer him $600,000 because they lost their quarterback. And if he got in the portal. And I'm not accusing Kansas State of anything. I'm just telling you what the kid told me. And so if they don't want their name thrown in it, I think they should probably get a handle on their people.
I'm not accusing K-State, but they should get their you-know-what together and stop calling my players.
Well, what's funny is I actually took it the other way. I'm like, $600,000. Is this a little, my girlfriend lives in Canada thing? It's like the great negotiation. Like, yes, you'll never guess who called me. K-State just called. They're offering me $600,000.
Yes.
And your counter offer is what? I don't know if Colorado State has that kind of dough.
I don't think they do, but they don't need it because Braden Fowler Nicolosi said no thanks.
That's how I was raised. I didn't come here to make money. I came here to win games and play ball for the Rams. So I think if we play ball here, we do our job, we do what we're supposed to, we win championships, go to the playoff, shock the world, I think the money will come eventually.
It feels more likely that you just missed out on $600K.
I mean, K-State might win the Big 12.
K-State's pretty good this year, right?
Yeah. Like, you could have definitely made the playoff.
They also have, because when we had Bruce Feldman on, Maggie, last week, he had written right before his freak list, his previous article was about this stud sophomore QB at K-State, which is why Will Howard left for Ohio State.
He has an Avery Johnson?
Yeah, so why are they paying anyone else $600K to back up Avery Johnson? That's crazy times.
Yeah, okay. He may have been raised right. It sounds like he is raised right, but where's the money going to come from if not from this particular offer? Unless he becomes one of those guys who plays college football for 6 years now, and you end up at Alabama because you put in 4 years at Colorado State, and now you do cash in. Honestly, these guys are like career college football quarterbacks now. Who cares where you do your first 3 or 4 years and then just go to Oregon or go to Alabama or...
No, you're right. Maybe that's what he meant by the money will come from a bigger school than K-State.
Yeah, not the NFL.
Right, after I win games here.
EJ, you wanted to mention something?
Well, not only did he get this offer, but their star wide receiver, Torrey Horton, also got this offer. And you guys may remember him because he was lighting up Coach Prime's Colorado defense in that game that, for some reason, we all were very fascinated by between Colorado and Colorado State because all the stuff that happened between Norvell and Dion in the week leading up to it. But he said basically the money's coming in the NFL for me, so like I'd rather just play here where I know the system and know the coaches who've already developed me instead of going somewhere else and maybe falling out of favor there or not knowing the system as well. So I kind of understood it with him, maybe less for Fowler Nicolosi, but maybe he wants to stay with Horton. I don't know.
I mean, that's all well and good, and it's good for you, but this is like players before you would have killed for this opportunity to make this kind of money. I'm not saying you have to do it just because it's available to you and it wasn't available to them, but if a Colorado State quarterback 10 years ago, 5 years ago, had an opportunity to go make $600,000 to play for another school, like that's a great opportunity. I don't know why you'd turn it down.
And again, especially if he was going to be the backup, he wouldn't have to do anything. He would just spend his money without the pressure of having to win games.
I don't know. This is an interesting one. What else we got?
In the NFL, we had Drake May getting more PT last night than in his preseason debut, playing in from the second quarter into the third. He went 6 for 11, 47 yards, a rushing score in what became a 14-13 home loss to the Patriots, or to the Eagles, that is. Jacoby Brissett is Gerard Mayo's starting QB for now.
When he's ready to go, and if he's better than Jacoby, then he'll play, he'll start.
But that is not at the moment. The Eagles held out most of their frontline players last night, with Nick Sirianni saying that the joint practices in New England this week were plenty of work for those main guys.
By the way, wildly disappointing night for my guy, Joe Milton. He was fine, but I'm still holding out hope that he is going to be the next coming. He weighs 250 pounds. He trucked to safety like it was a little kid. It was like...
he got yelled at for it, though, apparently.
By the coach?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of scary. I was like, oh my God.
Nobody knows how to slide with the Patriots because Drake May was going head first, too.
It wasn't a matter of sliding. He's like, I'm going to punish this guy. He's so big. It is, there's something there. There is definitely, I'm not giving up on Joe Milton until it's all over. I think just because he was bad at Michigan, he missed about 9 passes in a row last night in a preseason game against fourth string. That's bad, I admit. But
more of a practice guy.
Did you guys remember like a week ago? I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if Joe Milton's going to beat Drake May out."
Yeah,
probably not after last night, but he's still pretty fun.
Jimmy Garoppolo will not play in the Rams' second preseason game either. Sean McVay wants Stetson Bennett to play as much as possible. Maybe because Jimmy G can't back up Matthew Stafford right away, suspended for the first 2 games of the season.
What? Oh, is that PED?
Yeah.
That felt like that was this offseason? That felt like years ago.
Nope. That's still pending.
Has there been an odder career in the history of the NFL than James Garoppolo?
I mean, he's a multi-millionaire. Yeah. So it all worked out well for him.
Right. What does Andrew Brandt call those guys? Business Hall of Famers?
Yes. He could be a business with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He got Jimmy Garoppolo got suspended for PEDs this offseason, right?
Yeah, and I forget what his story was. But, I mean, again, he's just Jimmy Garoppolo. He's cash checks. He's super duper handsome. He's played well at times in the NFL. It's not a bad life.
Played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Crazy.
Now he's just backing up Matthew Stafford when he's eligible.
He was in a quarterback room with Tom Brady and Stetson Bennett. Amazing.
What room is that?
Oh, wait, Stetson
No,
Bennett.
I'm just saying, he's been, he started out with Tom Brady, and now he's just he's been
I was
around.
Like, huh? Where, Georgia?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Gosh,
he
it
was
could've been.
from Tom Brady to Stetson Bennett, like the swap.
I mean,
of
he's
people,
just like
yeah.
he's been around a lot of different things. He's not supposed to play in San Francisco. Lost his job to Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, there's just so much going on.
No, he lost his job to Trey
Lance.
I know, but
Remember
then
they kept him away from team meetings.
but then he came out and was killing it.
Yeah, they saved their butt.
Remember Jimmy G came in? He was amazing, had earned the job back, and then he lost it again.
You're right. Maybe he does have one of the all-time odd
it's
careers.
bizarre. They were talking about him last night in the Patriots game. They're like, well, when Jimmy was a rookie here, nobody was better. That guy could sling it all over the field. I'm like, oh my God, I even forgot about Jimmy as a backup to Brady.
I think he's got 2 Super Bowl rings for being the backup.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The Orioles once again even with the Yankees atop the AL East after a 5-1 win over Washington. Gunnar Henderson with homer number 31 in that victory. This is a flex. WNBA star and Olympian Kalia Copper wore her Chicago Sky jersey into the arena in Chicago last night for her first game against the Sky since a February trade to Phoenix, and then she scored 29 to lead the Mercury to an 85-65 win. And Notre Dame has suspended its men's swimming team for at least 1 year after an external review confirmed gambling violations and discovered mistreatment of some team members. The school says not all players did something wrong. The coaching staff fully cooperated with the investigation.
I mean, they got the death penalty for a year. The details of this story, I was reading, Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated wrote about it. How he framed it was they were essentially running their own sports book.
And they were betting on their own results against each other, right?
Yes, over-unders and against, I think, in meets too, against other people. You can't bet swimming, shocker, in most sports books. So they created their own sports book. This is so blatant and brazen. How do you ever think you're going to get away with this kind of thing? And it's all on text message.
It's so funny. This is going to sound bad. I don't really mind betting on those results. It's kind of fun and it inspires you to be better. sort of like a bounty gate. Right. Like that's not the worst thing I ever heard. Like, hey, I'll bet you can't beat 9-5 or whatever.
I know, but what if it goes to, well, I'm in the hole $5,000 and now I got to tank a race. Like,
yeah, see, when you're betting within your own team, like they're not like, I don't know, isn't the system set up? He's obviously, Billy can tank his own race. You can't bet against yourself in the Notre Dame inter-squad gambling scandal, can you?
I think
they
you
have rules?
could. I mean, I don't know how
Wait, no, they're not
the
idiots.
fine print.
There are no sharper gamblers on
they seem to
planet.
be idiots.
I don't know. I think that sounds pretty fun. It's like betting on intramural sports. By the way,
They can't swim this year. The whole program got wiped off the campus for a season. This is not a fun story. It's funny because some of the details, like who thought that these swimmers were going to be the ones to get in trouble? But
I need to know the specifics of their inter-squad gambling, because why would you have your internal sports book if Billy could just bet against himself? They must have safeguards.
Or
they must have safeguards.
There's no sharper gamblers on planet Earth than 18 to 22-year-old men in college. Do you think they were going to get ripped off by some breaststroke guy? No way.
My assumption is they were not like filing for LLCs. Like they were not going through all the. No, I don't believe they had safeguards. I think they were just trying to make money off each other.
Yeah, they were right, but I don't
They
think you
didn't
could
have
throw
rules
your
or set
own-
up a system where you didn't sign something to say you're going to do this correctly or anything like that.
No, but you know what I mean, though. Like, what's the point of having a sports book if you can just, like, that guy, I'm not going to bet Kevin that he's not going to do the 50 in under 20. They must have been a really cool-looking system. These are really smart athletes. Notre Dame men swimmers.
not as smart as you think because they got caught. Right. And now they can't swim. And so now, how about this detail, too? This is such a bummer. So for the incoming freshmen or for a few people who are not involved in the betting, they now can transfer. Congrats, you've got 12 days.
Yeah, and you're leaving Notre Dame.
Yeah, and you might have to leave Notre Dame, which you probably, I'm thinking, may have been a lifelong dream to even go there in the first place. Wow, swimmers, where you least expect it.
I like they did.
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Really? Why?
No. I mean, someone who went to a Catholic high school and, Zoo went to my high school. So,
oh, wow.
That tells you a little bit
of
of things.
light.
It's a big school. There's room for everybody.
That's true. I feel like the preppy ones are the ones you got to look out for. So, some preppy swimmers at Notre Dame doing a foul. I'm not that surprised. I'll be real.
EJ,
those are the guys that are usually the most gnarly, to be honest.
Probably good life advice for everybody. It's, the ones who you could never imagine might be the ones who are acting the worst.
But I would think usually it's like one guy who's slowly robbing the rest of the group and they don't realize it. It's not that them sitting like the corner of the pool smoking cigars, rolling dice and betting on the 50 free. Like this is a little unique.
It's unique. I just feel like it's not. I feel like it's par for the course a little bit when it comes to preppy guys with privilege and nobody really paying attention to them. Like
I
to Perloff's
disagree.
point, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they're smart, but I do think they're like, hey, nobody really knows or pays attention to us. We got this great thing going. Why not we make this a little cooler?
I
And
went
they did
to
this.
EJ. I do disagree a little bit. Like, I don't think it's just the preppy smart guys. I think every single person in college is betting like crazy on everything. I mean, like anywhere where there's a frat, there's a card game going on for money. I don't care if it's the lowest college in the country or like I went to an Ivy League school. We were betting on everything. We were drinking everything. We were betting on everything.
Right, but you also were not athletes trying to stay eligible. I mean, so okay, and then they shouldn't have been.
The entire college, we had a football team and everybody bet. Like, they didn't hesitate to bet on Ohio State, Michigan. Like, of course they bet.
No, but these guys are betting on themselves.
Yeah, but they're betting on themselves in a fun way. In a kind of like a fun way. This is not.
Okay, but all it takes is for, Johnny and Jimmy to get together, and Jimmy's like, listen, I'm in the whole $5,000 to Johnny, and Johnny's like, well, then you better, I'm going to take the under, or I'm going to take the over, and you better lose this game. Like, I'll take whatever. You better throw this race for me. And it's like, that's not a dot that I'm connecting. That's so inconceivable.
Wait, but first of all, even if that did happen, it would only hurt fellow Notre Dame swimmers. Nobody from the outside is betting on Notre Dame swimming, so it's not a normal betting scandal.
Well, that's true. They're not deceiving the public, but they're deceiving other guys on the team. It's still not on the up and up.
Yeah, and like it's like the story that may or may not be true about Dion in Colorado, where a guy beat up another teammate because he was like $10,000 in the hole. Like, it's just bad for business.
That's the other part. So they also got a violation for like the culture and stuff like that of not upholding like Notre Dame's values.
Yeah.
And because they had a text thread and just everything's on it. I don't know what, but who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. I feel like this whole scandal has like a different nature to it. It's not like they were throwing bets like Arizona State or something.
Right. Well, they're not going to jail.
Like,
They can't swim for a year. Like the crime and the punishment fit in my estimation.
So my daughter,
least a year.
Yeah.
My daughter, has done junior swimming, and I gotta tell you, the meets are so boring. They last like 9 hours. I would.
You've thought about betting?
Oh my God! If I could have thrown $50 against Emily, I would have done that in a heartbeat. By the way, this inspired me to start a little pool for next season
with the dads. But Perloff's hauled away.
I mean, there's nothing to
be
do.
Like what?
Yeah.
His argument. What?
You're already banned from the aquatic center, we thought. Right? You can't even go. This is why. They don't trust you.
Wait, what do you mean?
You said you can't go to some of the meets.
Oh, no, these are like COVID restrictions, not because
you said the other one, you came to Jake's game.
Yeah, we weren't allowed in that gym.
Because of COVID in 2024?
There was a back gym that didn't have stands. Like, there was a lot going on. Like, yeah, there weren't stands there. We were banned forever. I couldn't watch her swim till like 2022 because of COVID. Yeah. Sorry to bring it down there, bogus, but yes.
Well, wait, it was in 2024. Why would I think that COVID was banning you from the swim
I don't
meet?
know. Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch all the
I think
meets.
secretly Perloff just wanted to watch Jake's 10 and under game so he could bet against Jake.
That's exactly
Not Jake,
That's where the money is.
Honestly, if you
still
must
feel bad about that after meeting Jake yesterday and realizing he's a small child. We were definitely making fun of his team.
I mean, if you really want
I'm sorry, Perloff was.
The 11 and 12-year-olds were in the auxiliary swimming pool, which didn't have stands. Is that the whole story? I don't know. Who cares? Now that I know I can throw down a dime on little Susie to screw up the butterfly.
Perloff's all of a sudden like talking to the swimmers before the meet. How you feeling? How much sleep you get last night? Did you eat breakfast this morning?
By minor point, if you're a swim team of college players, they have to have a safeguard against throwing the matches They must have thought about this. Like, these are smart kids. They probably all have incredibly high SATs.
Well, they might be degenerate gamblers.
Right, but they're not gambling on outside stuff. They're gambling on their own
No, they were
teammate.
also gambling on outside stuff.
Right,
but
right.
it looked like it was like NCAA tournament and other.
Yeah, like stuff that everybody gambles. Like, this is like, they can't, like, if we were doing an intramural football league, we couldn't bet against ourselves because, like, there's no stakes. Of course we're going to throw games. So I think they were more sophisticated than you give them credit for. These are not just dumb swimmers.
Well,
and who cares? If
they're banned for the
because
year.
they got caught.
Who cares? It's
How
Notre Dame swimming.
sophisticated are they? If it was sophisticated, they wouldn't be using a text thread to put the bets in.
I know. You got to WhatsApp that.
This is a classic case of Notre Dame being the only idiotic school out there that is actually policing this kind of stuff. Like, I'm sure this happens everywhere. This is a Notre Dame problem, not this men's swimmers problem.
Man, Perloff, 855-212-4227. I'm sure every swim team in America is running an illegal sports book.
Definitely.
Wow,
Definitely.
He's very confident about that. Coming up, we've got a no-brainer for you. Why did we take this long to arrive at this obvious conclusion? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right. We had a tough assignment in the last segment here on Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie's very excited to see Nic Cage is going to play John Madden in a new movie, a fictional movie about John Madden. Now we have to cast Pat Summerall. So what I did was I Googled on IMDb, the movie website, actors between 60 and 70, because I think that's right around when Madden hooked up with Pat Summerall, who was a former NFL kicker, great broadcaster on CBS. I'm going to give you some names, and I'll save the one that I'm going for last. Tell me if you think they could do it. Tim Robbins.
Too tall.
Alec Baldwin.
Maybe.
Oh.
It's pretty good. Sean Penn. No, a little too serious.
I like Sean Penn.
Colin Firth, the English actor from all those funny English
All
rom-coms.
right, we can leave him for now.
Dennis Quaid.
Oh, I like that.
This outside the box. How about Johnny Depp? No, I don't think he would do that.
No.
Okay, here's who I settled on. Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah.
Huge sports fan.
Kind of similarly shaped head to Pat Summerall. Is he a huge sports fan? Have you interviewed him?
Massive Detroit Tiger fan.
All
I
right,
know.
Jeff Daniels. What do you think of that? So it would be Nicolas Cage as John Madden and Jeff Daniels as Pat Summerall. Tell me where to put the money, and I'm watching.
Well, I'm just wondering now. Let's think who would be good opposite Nicolas Cage. Like I know.
Yeah, I know.
Like, do you really the Nicolas Cage, Jeff Daniels, Nicolas Cage, Sean Penn? What a disaster of a movie set that would probably.
Well,
be.
they were famously together on Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I know
Yeah.
it's maybe a reunion back.
Weren't they both
40 years later?
Yeah, I think they were friends in that movie. That'd be good. No, you can't have Sean Penn and Nicolas Cage. Like, no director could sign up for that. That would be torture.
Especially David O. Russell, who's kind of known for having some really combustible movie sets. I like the Dennis Quaid one.
See, Dennis Quaid already did a football movie. He played Dick Vermeil. I just, nah. And he also he was Cap in Any Given Sunday.
I know. What about Alec Baldwin? It could be good. He's got some legal stuff going on.
Well, I was thinking about Nicolas Cage and Alec Baldwin sitting next to each other on a movie set.
That's amazing.
I can't picture it. That feels like a sign of the apocalypse.
Am I crazy? Would it be better if we flip them? Nick Cage was Summerall and Jeff Daniels was Madden?
Well, Maggie, tell them your idea again about who Nicolas Cage should play.
I think Nicolas Cage should play Al Davis,
Yeah, I mean, he
like the
would be
Raiders owner when
perfect.
Madden won the Super Bowl for them.
Yeah, I do not understand Nick Cage's Madden at all. So Al Davis, have him be Summerall. I'm all for that. I don't
How are
get
they
it.
going to make him look big enough, Nicolas Cage? There's no way he's a big guy. Yeah, EJ.
Well,
No, he's big.
Well, when you watch the last Batman movie, Colin Firth played the Penguin, and as Perloff talked about with Christian Bale, like Colin Firth, they had him in a fat suit, I assume.
Yep.
Weird thing.
No,
on his
that's
head,
Colin
balding.
Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Farrell. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Firth. I always get those guys mixed up.
Similar,
Colin
though.
Farrell.
Your point is valid.
Right. Yeah, like he looks unrecognizable. There's a new show coming out on HBO Max that he's gonna play the Penguin. So they've figured that out. Like that whole thing
Yeah.
of like not looking like the person, they can just put prosthetics on you. You can plug
Oh,
anything.
no. I saw John C. Reilly play Costello from Abbott and Costello in a very, very believable way, and it was definitely not as big as Costello. Yes.
What about John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly would be great as Pat Summerall.
I saw him mentioned yesterday to be Madden.
He'd be great as Madden,
That's what I
too.
think.
Yeah.
Did you see who else was up for to play Madden?
No, I didn't know there were different people.
Yeah, there were, according to Variety, the two other people they were looking at were Will Ferrell.
Perfect. He would have been amazing.
You think so?
Oh my God. I think there's a great actor inside Will Ferrell that we haven't seen yet. Just opinion.
And Hugh Jackman.
No. It's not a song and
Wow.
dance number.
Yeah. Or
Maybe there is. Maybe it's Madden the musical. That's who they were considering for John Madden before they settled on Nicolas Cage. You think Will Ferrell would have been a good Madden? It would have been funnier because Will Ferrell can't not be funny. Just looking at him is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, Will Ferrell, I think he's like Bill Murray. I think he's going to be a great actor in one movie. It's coming. I don't know when. He's tried, I believe, and it hasn't worked yet. But one thing about Nicolas Cage has this funny voice. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, lives in San Francisco, is from there. And Madden, I think, is famously from the Bay Area. Can he do the Madden voice really well? I think he can. I know he's got nasally Nicolas Cage voice, whatever. I think he went in there and blew him away. I have a feeling Nicolas Cage can transform himself into John Madden. Wow. And then if it doesn't work out, David O. Russell can just transition to National Treasure 3 in the middle of the movie, and I will still watch that.
All of a sudden, it's like, let's do Gone in 60 Seconds too.
But
And
also,
all of a
I
sudden,
think
Madden Cruiser is really out of control.
the weight is a great question, though, because I think it's cool that Cage could play a skinny Madden in the 70s. And then
But
play.
he was big as offensive lineman, former offensive.
Look at the pictures, though. I think that he's much skinnier. He puts on a lot more weight later. And it's going to be great. This is going to be so good. Let's do this to a team field trip to go see this in the theater. Are there any other famous people that can be in this?
They don't have anyone else. One of the producers is Steve Tisch, who's one of the co-owners of the Giants. So maybe one of the Maras gets in this. I have no idea.
Maybe they get some NFL footage out of the Steve Tisch connection. It's going to be great. Okay, I also promised you, Maggie. I've been promising. I don't think I promised on air. Notre Dame doesn't get it. They're just way too tough on everybody. They have rules. They're no fun. It hurts them. They famously can't recruit guys.
Is this because they are suspending the swim team for running a
suspending the swim team for running a sports book?
Yeah, that seems right to me.
Georgia has always gotten it. And this is a great from Message Board Genius Twitter feed. This is a note about Carson Beck getting his degree early.
Okay.
Carson Beck, their star quarterback. This is from NASCAR Dog. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that Carson Beck got his degree this summer. And now we've got Kirby celebrating it on Twitter. Like this fan, that's weird. The Clemson game is less than 3 weeks. The summer was not the time to sit in a decrepit room, listening to some random clown in a tweed jacket who's never lettered in anything, run his mouth. It was time to focus on the season, to focus on Alabama and Texas and Florida. This is a crisis of culture for this team. They need to be laser focused, stuffing Dabo into a locker and baptizing Kaiser DeBozo by fire into the SEC. You don't do that by, in all caps, going to class. NASCAR Dog gets it. He is my new AD. You cannot worry about things like class. Killing a quarterback for graduating early is just, it's one of the most genius things I ever saw. Bogus, you saw this. He nailed it, right?
How dare he? How dare he get his degree?
The headline.
The specific classroom mentioned, too.
Yeah.
A decrepit room with a blowhard in a tweed jacket who's never lettered in anything. Yeah. That's funny.
As immature as I am, Caleb DeBozo got me too. The title is, I'm going to be honest. I don't like that Carson Beck got his degree this summer. I think we need to print this out and frame it.
Oh, man. Going to class, all caps. How dare he go to class?
Crisis of culture.
Man. There you go. Okay, coming up, we have a quarterback battle that could get settled this weekend. We'll tell you about it next.
Scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat. His name's Dalton, I'm Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the number one.
Yeah. Sex bomb. Through the airways. I tune in, Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than the winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch you wow. Trying to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. Vanity, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot beginning. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline, forever ticket ticking. Behind the scenes, you just do it, switching lanes. Belotti's got the keys, but can't start the flames. Got a line up set, but it's just a simple game. Need a new playbook, cause yours is just lame. And your roach with the updates coming fast, but even he can't save you, you're in the past. Games changing, better bracket broadcast, cause I'm laying down tracks, and they're built to last. High but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game I'm the aristocrat, and you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house and I'm taking my shot. Game set, match like you're not. Maggie and the love, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north, I shoot straight from the heart. Yeah. Sex bomb.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Got quarterback battles going on around the NFL. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and one of the more interesting ones is what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, to be fair to Pittsburgh, they have said that Russell Wilson was in the pole position spot, since they acquired him from the Denver Broncos. However, Mike Tomlin then cracked the door open on that, Pearl, when Russell Wilson got hurt and Justin Fields was looking really good in practice. Okay, preseason game number 1, Justin Fields struggled a little bit. Couldn't get the center quarterback exchanges going, took a couple bad sacks, held on to the ball a little bit, and now Russell Wilson looks like he will be starting preseason game number 2. Let's listen to Mike Tomlin.
Russ is scheduled to participate if he has no setbacks, man. It's been a good week. He's been a full participant. He's had a couple really good days. With each passing day, it's less of an issue. And so we look forward to him participating in this home venue.
Yeah, and, I think Russ is probably going to put this competition away in the preseason game number 2 because, I don't think he's going to do anything that's going to be so egregious that he's going to lose the job. And I think for Fields, sort of had a moment there to keep this thing close and to really make Wilson sweat. And I'm not saying he blew the opportunity because he wasn't awful in that preseason game, but I think he set himself back.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I do think Russell Wilson has a strong pole position, but I think, and you might agree with this, that it's not guaranteed to be for 17 games. I feel like either there's going to be a strong Justin Fields package where he comes in 4 or 5 plays a game, or at a certain point they're going to flip-flop this year. I just get this vibe that this offense with Arthur Smith as new offensive coordinator is just not going to hum with Russell Wilson, and it's not even Russell Wilson's fault. I just think it's going to be conservative. So I agree with you. Russell Wilson gets the job to start, but I don't know how long it lasts.
Let's hear from Russell Wilson now. Nico, I'm surprised you with this one, cut 10. So Russell Wilson is going to start preseason game number 2. Here's his outlook for what the Steelers are capable of this season.
I think we have a great chance, but potential. My dad used to always say potential doesn't mean anything, and you haven't done it yet. So we got to do it, and that's the great part about this game. You get to go out there and pray every day that you get to be your best and love it and embrace the moments, and that's what we're going to do.
I'm sorry, I was so distracted. What were those kids chanting in the background?
Sounded like Nico.
I think they're chanting Minka. I think Minka Fitzpatrick may have been
nearby.
Who's it's on the practice field. Yeah, I think they were chanting Minka.
Okay. Whoa.
Was that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch chanting? Because apparently they're dying to get a hold of Minka Fitzpatrick in the Yahoo trade.
Yeah, what's Kyle Shanahan doing in the kids section?
Yeah.
Chanting Minka. In there, amongst all the chanting, is Russell Wilson saying the Steelers have a great chance at a championship. And obviously, Russell Wilson is not going to say anything less than that. But Perloff, is there a world where the Steelers are actually a Super Bowl contender this year?
No. No. I mean, how long have they been right around 500? We know a lot of Steelers fans, and they complain that the team has not won a playoff game. This is not the year because the AFC is so loaded. Again, their division is so loaded. They're not spending anything on their quarterback. They don't seem to really have the skill position. Their wide receiver room is the worst it's been in probably since before Big Ben. Their defense is great, but that's not enough. No, I don't see any chance.
See, this is tough for me because if I can see a team being a playoff team, and I think the offense is going to be better this year. Gosh, it can't get worse than last year, right? I think that they're going to be better this year. I would have liked it a little bit more if they'd actually added Brandon Ayuk, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. But, Arthur Smith, as much as you don't like him as an offensive coordinator, when he was with the Tennessee Titans, they were a number 1 seed in the AFC. And by the way, Mahomes was still great then. So it's not like he was doing this in yesteryear, and he was doing it with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so you can run your way, and you can play your way to a number 1. Like, I don't know if they're getting the number 1 seed, and obviously the AFC South was not as great. But if you could be a playoff team and you have a great defense and you don't turn the ball over, like, that is not a terrible recipe here. Now,
recipe for what?
Recipe to definitely win a playoff game for the first time in many years.
The question is Super Bowl.
I know. See,
because
I think
you
it's
just
about getting hot at the right time, and why not the Steelers?
They did everything you just said last year.
No, well, last year was a disaster. You're firing your offensive coordinator against your head coach's wishes. Ownership had to get involved. It seemed like Kenny Pickett forgot how to play football. That was bad.
But they had a killer defense, and at the end of the season, Mason Rudolph didn't turn the ball over. They got hot, and they went out in the wild card round like they've done every year. And
if T.J. Watt is healthy for that Bills game, their record with him is just so much different.
They had zero chance of winning the Super Bowl last year. Zero.
Because Mason Rudolph's playing for them at the end. Russell Wilson, if there is a fountain of youth here, or if he can stay healthy, maybe there is something here. I don't know. I can't.
Wait, I don't understand. I feel like your list of possible contenders is going very, very deep.
Well, I don't know why, because I think there's a lot of playoff teams in the AFC. And if you get into the playoffs, how many times do we see wild card teams make it to the Super Bowl? It happens all the time. And so I think that if you survive this gauntlet of the AFC and you do make it to the playoffs, doesn't there feel more of an anything could happen?
Not at all.
You really, because I can take it bit by bit and I can tell you the top teams in the AFC and why they might not be exactly where we think. How hard is it for the Chiefs to three-peat? Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? Will the Bills take a step back? Can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Justin Herbert's already hurt. Lamar Jackson's never done it in the playoffs. I can poke holes in everybody. And is there a scenario where the Steelers with Russell Wilson actually have a shot here?
No. And also, too, it's funny you say the AFC. If you look since the year, 2000, it's been it's been Patriots, Chiefs, Patriots, Chiefs, Patriots, Chiefs. It's not anybody can get in. It really is almost the exact opposite. It's not like baseball where if the Diamondbacks sneak into the playoffs, they have a great chance to go to the World Series. It's almost the exact opposite. It's been the Chiefs for the last 5 years.
Okay, but again, how likely are they? Are they more likely to three-peat and be back here in an AFC championship game, or would history tell you that they're actually setting up for a year where they don't make it that far?
History would tell you it wouldn't, but if you're telling me who's more likely, Kansas City or the field, I would say 70% the field, but at least 30% Kansas City. Yeah, there's a great chance they get back to the Super Bowl. Listen, they could have lost the last 2 Super Bowls. They were razor thin, but yeah, I don't agree with you. Any playoff team has a chance because, I remember last year's playoff, nobody was even considering half the teams in there. There's no way, Cleveland Browns, they were, with Joe Flacco, that was a team that was winning the Super Bowl. The Texans with C.J. Stroud, they weren't winning the Super Bowl. In the NFC, there was a bunch of teams that had no prayer. Tampa Bay, Philly, the Rams, nobody thought those teams were going to come out on top.
And how many of those games were close? I mean, you're playing the result here and just remembering that, and I don't think you're remembering the actual games. Yeah, the Philly and the Bucks, like no one thought that the Eagles were going to win because you guys were in free fall. But Matthew Stafford and the Rams came in and did really well against the Lions. That game, I mean, it's like you're right. Baseball has way more of and even hockey has like way more of oh my gosh, anything could happen. Maybe a little bit more than football, but you never know who's going to be hurt, who's going to be the last man standing, and who could have an inside track. Like I can't dismiss the Steelers out of hand because they've taken way worse teams and made the playoffs and had a winning record with teams that were definitely worse. So
yeah, I know, but again, I think the question was Super Bowl. I feel like if you're going to say Pittsburgh is a potential Super Bowl team, then you're going to have to say there's 19 other teams. Like I could put easily 15 teams that have a better chance. So that means you're going more than half the league has a shot to win a title. I just don't think the NFL is like that because there's so much duplication.
Yeah, but there's always a lot of teams who we kind of pencil in to be contenders that end up falling by the wayside. And that's definitely going to happen again. That's why my two my one sleeper Super Bowl pick, and I feel like I've been really consistent on this, has been the Browns. Like there is a world where things work out for them. I know that's hard to imagine because it's been a rough existence, but there is a world here, right? They have really put together, like, they have talent at all the positions you want to have talent. It's just a matter of getting it all together at the same time.
I mean, if you say that, but if the Steelers won this year, they would be, I assume they're the biggest underdog, the 2001 Patriots, the 99 Rams. I can't think of who's, I guess the Giants in 2007, both Giants. So we're talking like,
your Philadelphia Eagles were definitely not favored against the Pats, right? I think they were underdogs in that game. The Nick Foles Eagles.
Yeah, but coming into the year, I'm saying coming into the season, like where the odds are, the Steelers are big underdogs this year. Like I don't think the Eagles were 50-1 or whatever the Steelers are coming into that season. They'd be a historical kind of underdog because they're not even close in Super Bowl odds right now.
Can we put a poll up, EJ? Outside shot, like you're giving the Steelers any chance to be a Super Bowl contender? I don't know how you want to put that. Something like that. Yeah, they'd be major underdogs, but think about it. Tomlin always has a winning record or sneaks into the playoffs, and now he at least, I think you have to say they definitely upgraded at quarterback.
So they're tied at 50-1 in preseason Super Bowl odds with the Jags. Like, do you give the Jags a shot?
I picked the Jags to go to the Super Bowl last year. I did. I thought they were going to get the number one seed because I thought they would win the AFC South and get a bye week and then a home game. And yeah, I was high on the Jags. Yeah, EJ.
That was the reason why it was hard for me to go with you, Maggie, on them being a Super Bowl contender because I can't imagine the Steelers winning this division. Like, that is a big hiccup for me. So you're talking about the Steelers, let's say they do get to the playoffs, which I think is definitely a possibility.
Sure.
Now you got to win at least one, maybe two, maybe three road games. And we're talking about, I agree. I think the AFC is loaded, but you're talking about you may have to go on the road in New York. You may have to go on the road in KC, on the road in Baltimore, on the road in Cincy. Like, that's a lot of really good teams. And Russell Wilson in that offense with Arthur Smith is going to be able to be ready for that challenge. Arthur Smith did a really good job in Tennessee, but remember, those were not great playoff teams. Like, the number one seed they had, they lost a game where they had 10 sacks. They sacked Joe Burrow 10 times, and Ryan Tannehill kept throwing the ball away.
I know. They also went into Baltimore and beat Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and they got to the AFC game, and they were okay.
Well, I'm just saying, and so here's the thing about the Arthur Smith offense. You're right, that was embarrassing, but I think we give the Bengals a little bit more of a, first of all, didn't they win that game on a field goal, even despite the Tannehill 3-interception day or whatever? I'm
because they couldn't protect.
They couldn't protect him. But here's the thing, and Joe Burrow got sacked a million times in that playoff run also. And they end up going to the Super Bowl. But here's the thing about that Arthur Smith offense. The colder it gets, like, I don't think they would have it. I don't think they'd be intimidated going into New York and to play the Jets, going to Cincinnati, because they're going to grind the game down to a halt. And that's not a terrible idea when the weather is bad in January.
Okay.
It's not.
I know, I hear you, Maggie, but it just feels like, and I feel like football has changed maybe within the last 4 or 5 years even. Like, there was a time where, yes, you need to make sure you can run the ball and stop the run in cold January games. But, I mean, I'm watching Mahomes and Allen sling the ball left and right. I'm watching Joe Burrow sling the ball. I feel like there are these cold weather games where, yeah, Miami looked like they wanted to be anywhere but Kansas City in that minus 20-degree weather game. But I feel like I watch these other games, even in cold weather, where teams are still moving the ball up and down the field. I just don't know if the Steelers can ground and pound their way to a Super Bowl.
I don't know.
On the road.
Kansas City Chiefs did not score a point in the second half against the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Did not score a point in the second half.
Now, of course they have a chance. I just think that the way you're talking about them, it just, I mean, I looked at DraftKings. They're 11th out of 16th in odds to win the AFC. They're below the Giants. Like, they're really
Their schedule is hard. The schedule is very hard.
They were kind of a bad team last year, and they really have not upgraded tremendously. In fact, probably
they upgraded quarterback.
Yeah, but they literally have the cheapest quarterback room in the entire NFL.
Yeah, but that's also that's a unique circumstance because Russell Wilson actually is making $45 million. It's just from the Broncos.
Do you consider they in the top half of quarterback rooms in the NFL?
Well, no, but they did. You're asking me how do they upgrade, and I'm telling you at the most important position possible. So
kinda.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Our pal Big Friendly. I was just going through the awesome box of merch that you sent us a couple months ago. I know we thanked you for it then, but I wanted to say thank you once again. That was really cool stuff.
Oh, I appreciate it, and you're very welcome. So, thank you for taking my call. Good morning, Maggie Malone, EJ the EP, 411, and the one, the only, Daddy Cool. Now, Maggie.
Yeah.
And Daddy Cool. I think a great actor who could play John Madden would be Jeff Garlin.
Ooh. From Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Thank you, ma'am. And from Daddy Daycare. Nominated.
Yeah.
And so what do you guys think of that? And then I'll get into Magsy, why I feel the Buffalo Bills will take a step back.
Yeah. Jeff Garlin, I definitely like for the body type. And I think John Madden was kind of like at least came across as like a jovial kind of, happy-go-lucky guy. So a comedian playing him, I think, does make some sense.
Kind of got the voice, that deep voice.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the, but he does have the deep voice.
I like it. Tell me about why my Bills are going backwards.
Okay. Now, Magsy, with the utmost respect.
Yeah.
I notice how when you talk about the AFC East, you always fall short of the Buffalo Bills' shortcomings, but we'll move past that. The reason why I feel they may take a step back is because you guys lost starting safeties.
Yep.
Your best DB now home is SoFi in Inglewood.
Yep.
And you just lost one of the best linebackers in football.
Yep.
So if we go with the old adage, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. Buffalo's offense is going to be there every Sunday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, whenever they play.
Yeah.
But when your defense falls short, and that's what's been your issue throughout the playoffs. And before you let me go, because I know you guys got to go, I think the defense falls short every time. But next time you guys say on the radio, you're going to talk about the Rams and then go to break and come back and talk about the Dallas Noel girls, you break my heart.
Oh, no, Friendly. We promise. We'll talk more about the Rams.
Please, can you look at what, I know we got injuries. I know Puka's hurt. I know Matthew limped off. I know we got some offensive line injuries. But I honestly feel, and I could be a homer, my last name's not Simpson, and a shout out to the coffee drinkers and weirdos on the chat. I think the Rams have a good chance if they can stay healthy to battle. And with that, I'll let you guys have a good day, and thank you for taking my call.
Friendly, have a great weekend, pal. Good to hear from you.
Disagree. I mean, they got hot at the end of the year. Was any of those players you just described on the field?
What do you mean? For the Rams?
I know all those Bills defensive players were all hurt last year.
I think about the Rams. I'm Puka Nacua was out there.
Yeah, I feel like it was, and you said it just because I hear you complain about it every week. All those Bills defenders got hurt last year. They still cobbled together something. McDermott probably, for all his faults, can cobble together some kind of defensive
Well, he was
scheme.
down to third stringers now.
Yeah.
No, the defense is definitely an issue. Quietly, the Bills have had like between a top 5 and a top 10
Right.
defense through Josh Allen's career.
Right, but Tre'Davious White has never been consistently there.
Well, no, Tre'Davious White was one of the great players and was an all-pro. He has lost many steps because of injury.
Yeah.
Maybe he finds it again in LA, weather a little warmer, a little nicer. Possible. Poyer and Hyde are both old. Matt Milano's old. So if they really thought they were getting consistency out of those guys, no. But Milano's a big loss.
You were surprised when Poyer was back last year. I think we all were.
I saw him at the Super Bowl and said, like, thank you for all the great years.
Yeah,
and then he was back.
right.
I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Welcome back. As far as the Rams go,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's all about health. It's all about health. And it's about health of Matthew Stafford first and foremost. You know, he's already dealing with something. I kind of thought
He'll be back next week. He's fine.
He's a tough dude, man. He is.
He's a 36-year-old with a tight hamstring. Welcome to being 36.
Okay, but at 36, you weren't running around trying to get away from Nick Bosa.
One thing about them being healthy, like they're all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, they became young. Like now they're not that old team anymore. Like somehow they've loaded up on 3rd and 4th round picks who are great. So they're a really interesting team, but they might have just opened up a window because they can draft. We never knew that about the Rams. It wasn't
they were forced to.
It wasn't bleep those picks.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua 5th round, Kobe Turner, like all these later round guys are awesome. So they're an interesting team. Did you tease the Rams? I don't remember you doing that.
I mean,
possible.
It's possible.
Why would you
tease
tease the Rams?
yesterday.
I don't know what Big Friendly's talking about.
I think we were talking about the Rams yesterday because that
Oh.
was the Stafford thing, and I remember thinking, man, I'd be shocked if Stafford had another great run in him. Like I didn't see last year's run coming.
Yeah.
And
Did you see the Super Bowl run coming? Who saw any of Stafford's runs coming? Did you think he was going to leave Detroit and win a Super Bowl in his first season?
hell no.
No.
Absolutely not.
Hall of Famer. Even you got to admit that I'm getting closer and closer.
I think last year helped. Last year helped.
Big numbers, wearing a ring. I think you let in all the quarterbacks. I don't know why you guys are. He's old. I know that, but he's learning to play with that old body. I think he's going to be fine. You're going to have Jimmy G backing him up. This is going to be okay.
855-212-4227. Okay. Jimmy G backing him up.
That didn't give me confidence, I'll be honest.
Jimmy G, you put Jimmy G with Sean McVay, they probably are, they'll probably figure it out.
Jimmy G
good with Shannon.
last year.
At the swim up bar. 855-212-4227. Okay. 15 minutes of fame that's lasted a lot longer than 15 minutes and is now crossed over into the world of sports. What could I be talking about? We'll tell you next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining.
Milky white, it hurts sometimes, it's quite picky. Bug bites here and there, make it itch and twitch. Got him looking like he's doing a funny little hitch. Oh, Perloff, ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every fucking town. Mosquitoes have a party, won't leave him alone now.
15 seconds.
Itching all night long. Andrew's ankle's got a bitey little song. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every fucking...
Perloff's boycotting us.
I'm not boycotting.
I don't want to.
I don't want to introduce this segment. Like I don't know how to talk about it exactly. So I feel like it's safer if you bring us in on this next topic.
Hawk to a girl threw out the first pitch of the Mets game.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to say that.
But that's her name. Well, I don't know her name.
Is that her name?
Haley? I don't know.
So that's all we're calling her? Okay.
Well, I think she kind of would understand why we would call her that. I don't think you'd be like, hey, there's what, the Rhodes Scholar? Like, what else do we know about this woman except for this viral clip of a night she was out in Nashville?
That's true.
And said this thing into a microphone, and now she...
I just feel like your Peabody Award just went out the window for journalistic excellence.
Synopsis take the...
Yes.
Actually, when I tweeted about it yesterday, when I was like, spit on that, never mind, I was like, is Synopsis going to actually take the award away from me? I'm no longer a game changer in media. But... The 15 minutes here has lasted a lot longer, I think, than anyone thought. And of course, the Mets would get embroiled in this thing. And listen, if any team had her throwing out the first pitch yesterday, I think this would have made it onto our topic sheet.
I feel like there's just so little going on in New York sports that they were like so excited about this. If it had happened in Atlanta, I don't think so.
See, I think we would have, especially with this particular detail. Yesterday was camp day at the Mets-A's game, which means you had 5,000 between 7 and 12-year-olds who happen to go to the game as a part of their summer camps that get discounted tickets to go to a day game. So you're going to put Hawk Tua girl on a day specifically for children who are attending summer camp. Now that only the Mets could do. That is a unique level of screw up that only that is a unique rake that only this franchise could step on. I don't even think the Braves or the A's or the Colorado Rockies, even if they had her throw out the first pitch, they wouldn't be dumb enough to do it on camp day.
Now, I don't know if your objection here would be that you're subjecting these campers to Hawk Tua girl, but as the parent of a 10 and a 13-year-old, I will tell you that they don't know what the Hawk Tua means, but they know that this girl exists already. So your objection might shift into the campers being excited to see Hawk Tua girl throw out the first pitch of this game yesterday.
Wait, so this is your kids who are 13 and 11, right?
Yes, I've heard people, their friends say Hawk Tua girl. They don't know what they're saying, but they know that she exists and she's a thing because they all have phones and they're all on YouTube or Snapchat or whatever. So while they thankfully, I hope, maybe I'm just rationalizing here.
Oh my gosh, Bogus, you're so in denial.
Don't know all of it. They know that she exists.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you have the phone to be aware of who she is, wouldn't you also just search out why is she famous?
No, they just see her everything gets re-edited and mixed in, and then they just see her. They just know that she's there. Like the kid that sang the song about corn last year or whatever. Things get in their world, but they don't know the background. They don't chase down the information.
They know 30% of who someone is. I've seen this phenomenon millions of times. Oh,
they know
it's
a
that
little
guy.
about a lot.
Yeah, that's what it takes to do this job, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Bogus.
Really?
My daughters are like, oh, that guy. I'm like, do you know why he's famous? No, not really.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't want to talk about it with you guys.
No. It's just everything's on the surface. They just know that there's a Hawk Tua girl. They don't know what that means.
Yeah.
They just know there's a Hawk Tua
Their
girl.
entire base of knowledge is TikTok videos, which do not last long enough to explain who anyone is.
Right.
And the original Hawk Tua video is probably so lost in the ether at this point. She's become something totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest. It took me a long time to figure out what the Hawk Tua girl meant. When Bryce Harper did everyone said, "Oh my God, did Bryce Harper just do the Hawk Tua?" I'm like, I can't believe he did that. Hey, what's the Hawk Tua? And then I Googled it, and then I was like, even then, it took me a little while. I'm a little slow on the uptake, but I agree with Bogus. The other thing too is what is this like? Is the Mets' first pitch reserved for international diplomats? What did you think? I mean, the most famous first pitch ever until this was Grimace. So it's a bunch of clowns.
And she wasn't alone yesterday. Former Giant Zach Diossi also threw a first pitch out yesterday.
Yeah.
At least he won a Super Bowl.
We did this. Dan got to throw. Dan Patrick at the Cubs game. There were 9 other people who threw out first pitches. If EJ's patellar tendon was healthy, he could probably throw it out today. It's not the great honor that you guys are making it out to be.
No.
Okay, but you realize about camp day, I mean...
Oh, come on. Get off your soapbox. It's City Field. It's probably the 9th dirtiest thing they saw that day.
Camp day or not, the problem that I have with it, and not in a prudish way, but you can't... And my buddy was at the game. He said they introduced her as internet sensation, and they referenced a donation she made to some kind of Mets foundation. That's the issue for me is you can't tell the audience why she's a sensation because of what she's a sensation for. That should kind of disqualify you for being honored in a public setting like that for no reason. There's no reason to do it. She's not from here. She's not a Met fan.
Yeah.
They just had her there because she's her, but they couldn't tell the crowd why she was her.
I mean, there are plenty of people who are internet sensations. Wouldn't everyone on OnlyFans basically fall under this category? Are we just going to start going through every one of their accounts one by one?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a lot of home games.
They're so dumb. And it's only the Mets. I don't care what anybody else says. It's the Mets.
No, only the Mets would do it on camp day. The other teams, I think, would have done this, and I think we would have talked about it because aren't you guys surprised that her fame has lasted?
I asked you this last week in a break. Remember?
I thought she'd have kind of you got to go on to the next thing. It's you got to follow it up with something if you're gonna get the next 15 minutes. And I don't know, we haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, EJ.
That's the only thing that makes me mad about this. Because I honestly, I'm not going to fake outrage over this girl throwing out the first pitch. Most of the people aren't paying attention during the first pitch. They're getting hot dogs. It's all like nobody knows what's going on. And also,
it is an honor, though. It's meant to be an honor.
Ooh,
I think we lost the plot. Yeah,
it's gotten really
lost the plot of that.
Okay.
Maybe at one point, but I think we've lost the plot. Also, like there are brawls at stadiums. There's alcohol everywhere. I mean, it's not that kid friendly anymore. I'm sorry. Like the players curse all the time in every interview they do. Like I'm just not. I'm not the prudentness of the outrage. I can't get behind.
Oh, wait. When did you become this old man shaking your fist at the clouds?
I'm sorry. This is like no. I mean, I'm saying that to say that I don't care about those things either. But if we're not going to care about those things, then why do we care about this? My thing though was like her 15 minutes was up. People have moved on. I have not heard a hot tour reference for weeks. I feel like I forgot this girl existed until she showed up in a Mets jersey throwing out the first pitch.
She's been on Bill Maher. She was on, what did you say, Whitney Cummings?
Like she's been on things that are not just a bunch of dudes sitting around like, I want to talk to the cute girl who talked about that thing. Like she's been on like borderline mainstream things. And I asked you, Maggie, like, why is this lasting and why is this going so far? I don't understand it.
But let me ask you guys one question. Has there been any moment from any of those appearances that have been memorable that became a headline or anything? Nothing. Because she's boring. Well, there's nothing to her. She's not interesting. There's it would be different if she was going to these places and then making big moments, because then you'd be like, oh, well, look what Hot Tour did today. Like, she's not doing anything.
What Hot Tour did today.
She's personality is not her thing.
Right. So, like, to me, it's like, yeah, she's shown. I've seen her do other things, and like, there's not even a headline or any context to it because she's not making any headlines. The Mets could have moved on away. They could have moved away from this, and we would have forgot about her. But instead, they bring her back into all of our lives. Now we got to keep talking about this dumb girl again.
Like, she had one headline of Whitney Cummings. She had a line that went a little viral, and I can't say it.
I mean, I heard the only clip I heard was Whitney Cummings thanking her for the tip, for the advice.
Right.
Because she said, I've never done that before. I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
I didn't hear that line.
That's right. That's the clip I saw.
There's something is not good for the soul line. Did you guys hear that line?
No.
Oh. See?
It's a little viral clip. Yeah. Anyway, I can't say it.
Three-fourths of us haven't even heard of it. I'm not saying that
Bogus's kids will fill you in, because apparently every 13 and 11-year-old already knows who Hawk Tua Girl is. She threw out the first pitch of the Mets game yesterday afternoon at camp day. So everyone from summer camp, all the children who were there during a day game, got treated to a future role model.
Can I ask a serious question?
Yeah, sure.
Why did New York media treat this like I don't know, the mayor had embezzled $40 million. Like it was the worst thing to happen in New York sports.
That's also a thing,
years.
Isn't it?
Like, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. But this was like, oh my God, like the city is burning because Hawk Tua threw a ball. She didn't even throw it anywhere near the plate.
Can I give you a sports reference on this?
Please help me.
Okay, this is kind of like when Dallas Cowboy fans get mad at like Dak Prescott for not winning. They're mad because they haven't won since 1995.
Okay.
And Dak carries all the baggage of things that he's not even responsible for because the team hasn't won in 20 years. It kind of gets piled on into him. When the Mets do something stupid, it's not just one moment in time. It brings back all the other stupid things that they have done over the past like 40 years or however long you want to go back. So it just multiplies on top of itself.
Right. Like honestly, if she had thrown out the first pitch in Philly, I can't imagine anyone in Philly would have. Can you imagine Philadelphia getting mad about that? That would be insane.
You guys are classless anyway.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say like
you from morals.
Like
batteries of Santa Claus.
Are you kidding me? Like she could be like the team chaplain in that stadium.
That's hilarious.
You weren't disrespected. She's not dirty enough.
Let's bow our heads.
Come on.
Especially you, Hawk Tua Girl.
Yeah, that is not raising to the level of outrage in Philadelphia. That's
a Tuesday.
Surprised she didn't get the key to the city.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get it now. I kind of get it, but it still felt like, God, Mets fans are really angry.
Not even Mets fans, but like the Mark Healy, who covered the team for Newsday, tweeted that Newsday would not allow him to write who threw out the first pitch because, like,
really?
I guess like my point is, you can't. They didn't want to say who she was because the only way to say who she was is to be gross.
Oh,
So like he couldn't even. He was not allowed to include it.
That's disingenuous because if there was like something else, like they want to debate the newsworthiness of her throwing out the first pitch, but they would obviously cover other seedy, seeming, uncouth things. It's a newspaper,
right? But like when it involved like the mayor or the president,
yeah, right.
Then
They
it's
just
news.
don't think this rises to newsworthy,
right. Yeah.
But I think they would have to describe like what people.
As far as the seriousness, I mean, like. Literally, the Mets had the most famous first pitch of the entire season, and it was a giant, fluffy purple dude. I mean, this is an absolute joke. To call that an honor is insane. It's totally insane. The other first pitch was Grimace from McDonald's.
And that was a gift from God because things went well then. Yesterday, they were winning 5-0 and 6-4, and they lost, so Haktua girl can beat it.
I didn't even know Grimace was
I don't know if
still
you want
alive.
that clip out there.
I didn't even know Grimace was a thing.
Wait, but
you forgot about Grimace?
Wait, you said Dan Patrick threw out the first game at a Cubs game,
Yeah,
all the Danettes got to go with him, right?
No, we were just standing around the mountain, but then like 6 other local like dignitaries, like the guy who owned Bill's car wash, also got to throw out.
Yeah, but didn't it feel kind of like an honor when Dan was there?
It was so disappointing.
And didn't you also get to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game"?
That was an honor, but the first pitch was like nobody was in their seat, nobody was watching it. Everybody was like, "All right," they just rotated a bunch. It was not a big deal. It wasn't like I was like I thought it was gonna be like 50 Cent, like everybody's gonna stop and watch. And I know 50 Cent threw it into the ground.
Yeah,
it was nothing like that at all. Apparently, all the teams do this too. There's like ceremonial first pitches now. Like if you run a bank, then you get to do it.
I mean, you'll be shocked. There's a Peter Schwartz story connected to here. He made a big deal by throwing out a first pitch for I think the Somerset Patriots, a Yankee team. That I got specially invited by the owner. He was one of 7 people in a line across the infield, and they just introduced all 7 of them, disconnected people, and threw out a first pitch to 7 different catchers. It's a completely and that was Double-A baseball.
Well, now I feel kind of slighted because I live 20 minutes from that stadium. Where's my invite?
Well, synopsis.
Well, you're in the media, so I don't know if they would have a media member. You're supposed to be covering the team.
Oh, I've seen media members do it.
Really? I feel like, but you can't be like a beat writer who goes out there and throws.
What's Dan Patrick's job?
Well,
he's a famous person, I get it, but he's a member of the media.
Wilbon's done it.
Yeah.
Here in New York.
But you would do a local person.
Done it.
Yeah. You're right, I guess so, but it's not normal. Like Maggie, don't be offended that you're not throwing it out. And by the way, if you did, would you do it off the rubber, or would you be like cock to a girl and just throw it like 4 feet in front of you?
To a buddy too. I think our podcast co-host.
I was wondering, I'm like, was there not a catcher who was like, I'm not doing that? I would get so much trouble with my wife or girlfriend.
Nobody's taking a picture with her. No player is taking a picture of her. No chance.
You know who would? Jimmy Garoppolo.
Can I tell you?
He would definitely.
Garoppolo would.
We did it at a Brewers game, and Dan said, I don't really feel this one. You guys want to do it? So we, 4 Danettes put names in a hat, and we randomly picked whoever got to throw it. And literally, I'm not joking. Like, all right, Todd Fritz is throwing out the first pitch, and now Bill Smith, who is the regional manager of the Sunset Valley Bank. I was laughing so hard because it was Fritzy and then a bank manager. And the apathy from the crowd, like nobody was even paying. It doesn't mean anything. Nobody's in their seat yet.
But it's for your memory. That's cool.
Right. But there was like 18 people. It's like, okay, Susie, who was just in the hot dog line. We got her.
It's just funny because it's like the Yankees last week. It's like Caitlin Clark. That's cool.
Right. Yeah. Trust me, the Yankees have done a bunch you haven't heard of.
Oh, no, I'm sure. But I've been out there for other people who've done it. We're doing charitable stuff. But Caitlin Clark, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mets have Hawk Tour.
Yeah, I saw your boy Wemby at Yankee Stadium before the draft. I was at that game. He threw out the first pitch. That was remarkable. Yesterday was not.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. I don't think there's a social question out of this.
Not one you want answers to.
Not one I don't want to get fired over.
Should Hawk to a girl had been throwing out the first pitch. Okay, lots more to do, including a what if for you. What if? We'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
It. I didn't know Grimace was a. Yesterday they were winning 5-0 and 6-4 and they lost. So Haktua girl can beat it. I didn't know Grimace was a. Was still alive. Yesterday they were winning 5-0 and 6-4 and they lost. So Haktua. Yesterday they were winning 5-0 and 6-4 and they lost. So Haktua girl can beat it. I didn't know Grimace was a. Was still alive. Yesterday they were winning 5-0 and 6-4 and they lost. So Haktua girl can beat it. I didn't know Grimace was a. Was still alive.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We did get some interesting responses to a question that we put out, Pearl, earlier in the show, and it was about Ohio State head coach RyanDay. We asked to fill it in the blank, like finish this sentence. If Ohio State loses to Michigan again this year, ... A lot. Some Mark here says, I wonder who the next head coach would be. Mike said, I won't care as long as it's a good game. Brad says you can't blame it on Connor Stallions.
Wait, Mike said, I won't care as long as it's a good game.
Frank said RyanDay will be an NFL head coach next year. Yeah. So I think the bottom line of this and this exercise was there could be consequences if RyanDay has another good year but loses to Michigan. Like they know that he's going to beat the walkovers, but what happens with that specific game?
Totally true. Yeah, it's huge. I think, honestly, if he doesn't make the playoff this year, it'd be one of the biggest surprises. He's only got 3 real games on there. They're going to roll. I'm telling you, I know this is not necessarily answering the question. They're going to win it all this year. They're so close. It's such a cliff. It's them and Georgia and such a cliff. I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong and Oregon just destroys them in Oregon. But does that feel like that's going to happen? Whenever Oregon plays an early season game against a really good East Coast or Central, I just think that Ohio State's going to roll. And RyanDay is going to put all this aside. It reminds me a little bit, Jim Harbaugh could not beat Ohio State. Then what happened? He started to beat Ohio State, and then he became a champion.
Stealing signs and then beating Ohio.
Could be, yeah. Maybe RyanDay. Yeah, RyanDay probably was also stealing signs. But I feel like he's going to do it, our guy. I'm backing him. Do you think there's any chance? Like, how do you think this plays out if you most had to guess?
I think maybe they get off the schneid this year. I think if he loses to Sharon Moore, it's going to be a problem for him. And I think he may have like designs on going to the NFL, and I wouldn't be surprised because that's sort of a graceful exit. It's like you can't really blame a guy for going to the NFL if he wanted to, just like Harbaugh just did. Nico, you seem like you want to say something.
So I went to school in Ohio, and most of my friends were Ohio State fans. They would tell me that they care more about beating Michigan than winning the national championship.
I believe it.
So obviously if they lost to Michigan and then won the Natty, he wouldn't get fired, but like that they care more about that game than anything else.
But that's kind of like, that would have to be the save. Like if you lost to Michigan, you almost may have to win the whole thing just to get yourself back off the hot seat. That's hard to do.
Well, the playoffs kind of screws that up a little bit too. It's like, wow, you could have a really bad year and then he's in the playoffs. So, but I think they're probably going to be 2 touchdown favorites against Michigan this year. It's going to be really hard for Michigan to do this, but we'll see.
So you can keep those responses coming. We got a lot of them. RyanDay will be fired unless Ohio State makes a deep, deep run to the playoffs. Bye-bye day. Everyone is fired. I mean, you guys can go and make your voice heard at Maggie and Pearl on X. Wanted to bring this story to you. We talked a lot about the new movie that's going to feature Nicolas Cage playing John Madden, of all people. That's going to be very fun. That's going to be like a feature film that's written like a dramatic film. We have another docuseries, though, that's coming out, Perloff, that I know you are very interested in, and this is called Money Game. It's going to be on Prime Video, and it's all about LSU athletes and how they're cashing in on NIL. Here's a listen.
Can I see how I look before we start? July 1st, 2021, the NIL rule changed. That's the day my life changed.
The schools were reaping the benefits of the billions of dollars in TV contracts.
For almost 100 years, no one challenged it.
Now, the Livy Dunns and the Angel Reeses, they're getting 6- and 7-figure deals.
The more eyes you got on you, the more people are going to try to tear you down.
Okay, so that was Livy Dunn. You heard she's the LSU gymnast who really was one of the first athletes to majorly cash in on name, image, and likeness.
Yeah. So I think the most interesting part is not the male athletes, but the female athletes. And there was something in the trailer about how they have to make a choice about how they present themselves. You know, is it all about the money or is it all about winning? So it just is, I think it's a different calculus. You got to be image conscious, which means, I'll just say it, sex it up sometimes.
I know. And this is the crazy thing about NIL and how it's affected female athletes versus male athletes. For a male athlete to make money, you just have to be good. Or maybe you just have to be on the team, but you just have to be good. For a female athlete to really cash in on this, you have to maybe look like Livy Dunn, look like Angel Reese, who's nicknamed the Bayou Barbie, and is a great player also. And I'm not saying women who are just a little more plain or not playing it up are not getting money, but they're not getting near the money of a Livy Dunn or Angel.
Right. And what was it, Cavendish twins?
Cavender twins, yeah.
Right. It was not the first wave of NIL. It was all about looks. But then I wonder if Caitlin Clark has changed the game to the sense, and now people, I mean, the sport has just become much more popular.
Right.
So I wonder if just being a great player alone is enough to get you money. I think it changed pretty quickly.
Right, where you don't have to, have a little...
You don't have to do a model shoot with a photographer. You can just go out and score 25 points in a game.
Maybe. I still think, the double standard, much like the double standard that exists in our society, I think it's definitely more pronounced right now. And so this docuseries is going to be interesting because if they do it right, it will follow Livy Dunn and Angel Reese and then Jane Daniels. So Jane Daniels is at LSU winning the Heisman, and I'd be so curious about what the NIL demands are of him to get his money versus what the demands are for Livy Dunn and for Angel Reese to get their money.
Well, yeah, it's funny because Jane Daniels, nobody recruited. He was already there before this documentary started. I don't know how he got to LSU, but they didn't have to pay him billions of dollars of NIL.
From Arizona State, you mean?
Yeah. He wasn't that good at Arizona State. So I think they tripped into Jaden Daniels. I don't think they planned on Jaden Daniels. The one thing, I will say Juju Watkins got a huge AT&T ad. She's very pretty, but I've never seen her in a bikini on Instagram, and she got a huge AT&T deal. So and that was just based on being awesome at basketball. So I think it's changing already.
Great point. Thank you to Nico Scarlatos. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan, Guido's Coffee Drinkers. You guys are the best.
You're in a 5-minute